Guys, we are super excited to announce our new partnership with SaberSim. For those of you who aren't familiar, SaberSim is a DFS optimizer and projection system used by some of the top DFS players in the industry. It provides some of the best ownership and scoring projections on the market, and now you will have a chance to bundle it with an RPS subscription for our low price. For a limited time only, you'll get both Runpure's great content along with the SaberSim product and projections, typically valued over $190 a month, combined for our low cost just by using the promo code SABER15 BigT. How dope of a deal is this?
This is going to be the best deal in the industry. It's going to get you all the content on the site and the optimizer. So you got a nice intro price. This also includes the bet side, which we have one of the best bets teams in the industry. Also, the optimizer is going to be accessed directly on the site now. And eventually, we're even going to have the core plays directly on the optimizer within the next couple of weeks. So another really nice bonus.
All right, so why don't you show us how quick you can knock out over 150 lineups using the SaberSim optimizer?
Yeah, this optimizer is going to be very nice on the site. Tons of new options. If you want to look at the screen, we got SaberSim projections, RPS projections right next to each other. You have options like being able to do the average of both, which is nice. Obviously, I like the Runpure projections, but the SaberSim projections are awesome too, and it gives you a nice balance between the two to form some of your own opinions, which I love to do. As you scroll to the right, you got other stuff like ownership projections, which comes from SaberSim. Eventually, we might have more of our stuff on the site too, but SaberSims are awesome. Gives you another data point when you're building lineups. And then as you work your way to the right, we got the ability to see upside of players. 85th percentile, 99th percentile. You can see the upside of some of these guys. And then just to prove the point, you can build 150 lineups very quickly. Go up here to build lineups. Gives you a bunch of cool options that we'll go through as we start getting used to this and putting content out. But you got GPP, cash, multiplier, satellite option. For this, we're just going to do GPP. I'm going to show you how quick we can make 150 teams. But also, you got single entry in here, 3 max, 20 max. Just a ton of cool options to show you guys as we get going. How many entrants are in the field you're playing, put that in there. Bunch of cool stuff like correlation, ownership, variance with the sims, tons of stuff that you're going to be able to use. I'm going to run 150 teams here and show you guys just how quickly you can run 150 with this optimizer. So as you can see, 150 teams took me about 30 seconds. And once you have more time, you can play around with the numbers, really get them where you want them. But I was just trying to show how convenient it is. You got your optimal team right here. Shows you how much salary you used, projected score, SaberSim score, which kind of shows you your upside type thing. Tons of stuff on here. Total ownership, 267%. So a chalky team right there. But again, as we get more comfortable with the system, you'll be able to tinker a lot more. And tons of stuff up here too. If you want to play an upside team, you can click 99th percentile. It's going to run again for you. Give you an upside team here, more upside. Tons of options though. As we get going, we're going to do tons of content. All of our shows are going to be using this. I'm going to be using it personally to build my tournament teams. Super excited to get going with SaberSim and get this partnership going to make the content we do even better going forward.
And just a reminder, you can access all of the Runpure premium content for all sports, along with SaberSim optimizer and projection system for the low monthly price for a limited time. Just use the promo code SABER15 while signing up to get this deal. Don't wait, sign up now, and of course, let's Runpure.
What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, aka ToeTagginTambo. I'm back, baby, back from the beach. I'm excited to be back with my boys, back on the show with you guys, bringing the good mojo. I see you guys are already bringing the good mojo on the way in too. We're almost at 100 likes and we haven't even kicked it off. Somebody or some people must have heard about a ticket giveaway. So there's going to be a ticket giveaway. That's for sure. Got 2 333 Wildcat tickets. We're going to be giving away. We're bringing the good mojo, hoping you guys can bring the good mojo and hit that like button. I'll talk about the details of the contest in a little bit here. So stick around for a few minutes. Before we get into it, though, we have a pretty big slate ahead. So I'm going to bring in my guys, JT Hayes and AP. And AP, I know you're hurting over there, bud, but I'll bring you in quick. What's going on with you this weekend, man? How you doing?
Yeah, doing good. I had to make it on the show today. We tried to hold our own. We struggled with the likes last week. We didn't have our guy Tambo here, but I'm confident that the likes are going to be flowing in today because we got our man Tambo, almost king of the beach. I'm gonna call you king of the beach. I mean, you were right there, but man, incredible week last week for you, buddy. Huge win. We love to see it for sure.
Yeah, thank you, man. It was definitely an awesome time. Great community. We're going to talk about that great community in our team here at RPS and all our members and everyone. We're going to get to that with the ticket giveaway in the season. I had to put in work at the beach, and you guys are going to have to put in work here today. We appreciate you. JT Hayes, let me bring you in, my man. Maybe feeling a little bit better than our guy AP over there, but how you doing this week?
I'm doing good. I already went in. I hit the like button myself, so gave us a little bit of a head start there. And you mentioned big slate. First of all, congrats. You are the king of the beach. Like I said, you just call yourself what you want. That's what we do in this world these days. Tambo, you are the king. And AP, big respect, answering the bell, even despite the life-threatening illness that you're undergoing right now. It is fantastic. Thank you. I'm so happy to see you. And we're gonna pump the likes up. I'm excited about the ticket giveaway, excited about this slate, excited about what's going to happen on this Sunday. A lot of interesting decisions to be made.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about here. We're going to dive right in a second. Before we get in, I want to remind everyone, a new promo, new everything we've got going on over here at RPS. We've got the code SABER15. It's related to the optimizer we've just signed a deal with SaberSim. It's incredible, you guys. This is the best deal. I don't know why you're not signing up if you're not already. But again, that's going to go with the ticket giveaway. I'll give those details in a second. SaberSim, let me talk about it real quick. I've been using it, messed around with it for some MME. It's incredible for that. It does all the work for you. Big T's already previewed it, showed it on the video there. You guys saw the preview. Hopping in here, he's on there with Ali, just going through some of the stuff and how quickly you can build 150 lineups. But I think there's more to it than that. And this is what I want to make sure everybody understands. I personally talk about this all the time. One of my own struggles has always been single entry, 3 max. Finally got a little bit of that monkey off my back there last week at King of the Beach, had just 2 entries, was able to make one work. But SaberSim is more than just that. There's tools that you can use within it to literally change it to be single entry or 3 max, and you can just look at it. I call it, I say this all the time, but you're basically virtually hand building. You're using the optimizer to get your thoughts there, and then you're going through one by one, like looking for what you would do with the hand build, and then you can start seeing things and messing around with it. So if you're not signed up yet, use promo code SABER15. That's the add-on. That's the bonus. So let's get to the ticket giveaway, because this is the important part. Said I was going to put you guys to work. There's going to be 2 333 tickets for the Wildcat on DraftKings. Hopefully today. There's still over 1,500 entries. I already texted my boy Big T, say, can we get these guys these entries today? I think it's going to be good, but we'll make sure. But you'll get them either way. I promise you that. The first ticket is going to go to somebody who is a member at RPS already that's joining the show, as always, loyal and faithful. We appreciate you. Hop in the chat and let the people know why they should join RPS beyond the great new optimizer and the brand new promo. The second ticket is on the flip side. I want a non-member to hop in there and write in the chat, the live show chat right here on YouTube, to say why they think they should be picked and what they would do, what the membership would mean to them, anything you got going on, something you want to put in there, why you want to be a part of RPS. And then my 2 co-hosts here, AP and JT Hayes, are going to pick. So JT Hayes, you're going to pick from the members, and then AP is going to pick somebody from the outside to come on in and join us, because like I said, this is the best time to do it. We say this all the time with promo codes. Other sites do the same, but it's literally 15% off for life for anything you want to get, any promo you want to sign up for, and you get the optimizer with it. So you can cancel a bunch of other subscriptions out there. Do whatever you please, but I highly recommend it. So with that said, guys, you know what to do. Hit the like button. Good mojo everywhere today. Get in the chat. Talk about those 2 things I just mentioned, and let's dive right into it. AP, I'm going to start with you. We got a pretty wild slate ahead. I'll let you just do your thing right quick, and then we can move it over to JT Hayes. Appreciate you being a trooper with us here. But we've got some quarterback ownership today, and I said this to JT Hayes on the show we do on the Mayo Media Network this week. I'm not sure if it's the Minshew mania from last week, going up cheap against the Jets, but Taysom's season is here. Taysom's at the top by a little bit more than a wider margin than we usually see at ownership at quarterback. Usually it's a little bit more dispersed. It most certainly still is once you get down below Taysom Hill, but Taysom Hill at $5,600 at the top, looking to be somewhere around 20% ownership. And this is even in large field tournaments. So what are your thoughts here on Taysom Hill? And then talk to us about the rest of your quarterback position this week.
Yeah. I mean, quarterback, definitely really interesting this week. We have two cheapish quarterbacks in really good spots. Taysom Hill, like you noted, and then Cam Newton against JT Hayes' Atlanta team over there that is just in complete shambles defensively. You make cases for both. I think what's going to happen is it's going to leave a few of these spend up QBs like Patrick Mahomes, actually not Josh Allen and Brady. So yeah, I mean, this is a good week for, if you want to get a little bit different to get to my guy, Patrick Mahomes. He's 8K. I feel like the one issue, my one concern with my guy Mahomes is I think they're just going to get it done against this Raiders team on the ground and through the air. So, and I don't know if we're going to get the back and forth game script that you need in tournaments to hit their ceiling. So I think me and JT Hayes are going to be on similar paths here. One guy that's flying under the radar. He does have a pinky issue that I want to ask you guys about that I read of, but I think it's going to be fine. But Joe Burrow going against a 49ers secondary that's just very depleted. 49ers have found themselves in a ton of just like high scoring games of late too. So it's like they got this nice back and forth environment going on over the past few weeks. So I think we could see that here against Cincinnati, and Joe Burrow stacks are really, really nice. Jamar Chase, that price tag has come down a little bit. Joe Burrow right there, 6K. So I think quarterback is really interesting this week. As always, I'm committing to, stacks, correlating my games, QB plus, at least one receiver. I just think that's the right path to go in tournaments. So the other guy too, I really want to have exposure to is Josh Allen. I feel like, Buffalo hates to run the ball anyway. So I think it's going to be, if they're running, it's going to be with Josh Allen, or they're just going to throw it like 100 times. So I think we got to have a ton of interest in Josh Allen.
Yeah, and amongst all the great comments coming in for the ticket giveaway, when you're talking about Burrow and Allen and Mahomes, of course, AP on Mahomes, what? No way. Can you imagine that? Jeez.
So Tambo, for the people that weren't listening, specifically for my part that I got to pick, what were the terms again? What am I looking for?
For you?
I was listening, but this is for, for everyone in chat that wasn't.
JT Hayes is going to pick from the members, right? He's going to pick from the people. If you want to put member before you write your note in there, there's a lot of great ones coming in. But AP, you're going to pick someone that's a non-member from the outside looking in. They want to hop in. They watch the free shows. They're going to tell you why they want to join or why they should win the ticket.
Okay.
And that's hopefully they get the ticket. They'll want to join and see what all the good stuff is about. I mean, there's a lot we're going to talk about today on here, but there's a lot more behind the scenes as well. And then this is just football. There's all sports. Last night, Title. Yesterday, we had Title, Mad Lab, Big T doing a free show for MMA, picking winners left and right, dominant out there and just crushing it. So just every sport that's going on, you name it, it's all over here. But back to the Burrow thing. I love it. And AP, I don't know, like, throwing the football, you don't necessarily need that pinky, right? Just to let it fly, flick of the wrist. I think it could be okay still. And, we just got to make sure that Jamar Chase can actually catch the ball. We're going to, flashbacks to preseason last week with that, what would have been 70-yard walk-in. So absolutely terrible when it comes down to that. But JT Hayes, let me flip it over to you, get your Burrow thoughts, but go back to the top two as well with the chalk. Taysom Hill, I definitely have some thoughts there, but I want to get your thoughts first on Taysom and then other guys that you're liking here at the position this week.
Yeah, so, you mentioned Minshew Mania, the Jets, the worst defensive team in the NFL. They're the worst defensive team in the NBA, any league. They just suck. And so the interesting thing there is Alvin Kamara is back, and he now has an outlet, whereas last week, outside of Deontay Harris, he really did not have anywhere to go with the ball. Yes, Traquan Smith is there, but I think this is a good spot for Alvin Kamara. Jets have given up just a ton of points on the ground here. And the ownership is going to keep me off of Taysom. The other thing is you don't really need Taysom. If you're playing Taysom, then all of a sudden you're locking yourself into some of these very high-priced plays up and down the board. And as I joked with one of the members last night, who threw up a core with 3 11K players in it. I said, hey, go back to Algebra 1, right? All those guys aren't going to go for their ceiling on the same day. And I feel the same way here. I think there's a couple of lower price stacks there. Everybody's down on Cam Newton, even though his ownership is going to be around 20%. They saw his terrible performance against Miami. And this is the weekly reminder to play the quarterback against the Falcons, because when the Falcons are decent defensively, they have a pass funnel defense. They're no longer decent defensively. Now, there is some concern. Can Cam get the ball downfield? This is why we're not interested in Throbby Robbie. We're not going to make that mistake that we made the first 6 weeks of the season. But I think DJ Moore is in play here as a correlation with Cam. I'm off the running backs there. Chuba Hubbard got an opportunity to start earlier in the season. Didn't do a whole lot with it, although the one matchup that he did do fairly well in, he got to 20 DK, was against the Atlanta Falcons. But they've got Amir Abdullah there. They like to get him involved here with Christian McCaffrey out. But AP, the guy that you brought up, the guy that we were talking about before the show started here, is Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is such a tough bastard. I think he just rubs a little dirt on that pinky. It's not going to bother him at all. Joe Mixon, a little bit banged up here as well. And the Niners, not the best team to run on. So the other thing, that injury to Elijah Mitchell really makes me more thinking about this game as a back and forth where both of these pass offenses get involved. I'm a lot less likely to click on Jimmy Garoppolo. In fact, with Deebo Samuel back in, kind of takes me off the Niners offense as a whole, because I don't think I can predict where it's going to go. You have Ayuk, who was getting more involved, healthy. Kittle, big game last week. Now you bring Deebo back. You've got 2 running backs there that you can't predict who's going to get the volume. Just give me the Cincinnati stack. And I think this is the Jamar Chase week. So that's a route that I'm going to have a lot invested in. And then the Tampa Bay Buffalo game, very interesting game there. Very, very enticing bounce back spot for Josh Allen. I wrote this up in the Gems article. Wouldn't surprise me at all if Buffalo just shelves the run game completely and says, Josh, do your thing. We got to get back on the winning track. After last week's game, Sean McDermott blasting his coaches, blasting his players. They got to get things right there. So I like that quite a bit. And then I really was very high on Josh Jacobs on the Thursday show that we did, Tambo. I still think he's in play. I am a little bit concerned about the fact that this is a 10-point spread. The Raiders are down a bunch of defensive players now that are going to miss this game, making the path for the Chiefs a lot easier. Now, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, back healthy. You've got Williams back there as well. So Andy Reid with a lot of pieces to play with. This game could go a lot of different directions. I think it goes the way of the Chiefs winning, but I think how he uses his offense today has become a lot less predictable.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, this game, because I think that's going to be the important one to talk about. Interestingly enough, too, back to the Taysom versus Cam Newton situation. I don't know if it's just my ownership projections, but most are showing now that people have chosen a path here, and it is with Taysom. I don't know if it's just like you said, maybe because a couple weeks ago we saw Cam get benched or whatever happens there, but people are a little bit afraid to go back to that spot, and I wouldn't hate it. I did talk on the site a little bit about the Taysom situation for me, and I just think in large field, it's going to be tough. Like it's not, to me, the same situation. Last week we had a 4K stone minimum Minshew. This is almost 6K still. It's still very cheap for what he can do. He can put up 20, no problem. He's done, I think, 5 of his actual starts were an average of over 20, but it's just to talk about in the sense of then you've got to go get everything else correct. And in smaller field, higher dollar, I love it. Because it's like you said, you can just eat that stuff up. I know some are saying, make sure you don't pair him with Kamara. Again, the place that I would use him, I would be okay doing it because in a smaller field, you're just trying to eat up that end zone. And you don't necessarily need the same ceiling. In large field, I would go away from that completely. I would set up a rule to separate them. Maybe you go to Eckler instead outside of that. And the reason is because they're more likely to cap each other. And if you look too, it is kind of holding Kamara's ownership down some. He's still around 20%. We'll get to that when we get to running back, but maybe he should be 40 on this slate with, there's not a ton of running back options. We're going to talk about the main ones when we do get there. But for me, that's just the thought. I do like this Tampa Bay Buffalo game quite a bit. I don't think it's though the same as any of these other situations where, you know, this is the game of the slate. You need to get all in, et cetera, et cetera. For like a main core lineup, that's what I'm doing because I like the total. And I like what you said about Buffalo. That stands out to me. Josh Allen showing up here. I don't think it would be Buffalo showing up and Tampa Bay not. I think we'll get just a back and forth, an actual good game out of it. I actually do like and I never really talk about bets on here that much, but I think Buffalo could win or actually at least, you know, I think it's 3.5 underdog for them on the spread. I could take the plus 3.5, sprinkle a little bit more on money line and give that shot. So I do kind of like that for that situation, but going down, AP said it best earlier. Like what happened here is now all this has happened. And now you've got Dak, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, just going through the list, Joe Burrow, all these guys that are usually studs and everyone wants to play are just not getting anywhere near the ownership. They're not even close to 10%. Some of them are at 3%, 5%, all of these factors. So I'm certainly mixing in some of this. I talked about it over on my slate plan on Runpure Sports. Again, if you guys haven't signed up, you can use promo code SABER15. I just think that this is the situation where I'm not playing as many lineups as usual. I'm going after the FFWC Qs this week. I got about 50 lineups in play. With that said, it's the most money on any week of the season that I've had in play. I'm definitely treating myself a little bit to get after it, to try and get right back down there, but I've had to thin my pool out a little bit. So like you said, coming back to Burrow, I think that's a way to get different on this slate. I think, I just looked it up. Chase is like 5% owned this week. That kind of could tell you everything you need to know. And then what people don't realize, and it's a good segue, we'll get to running back in just a second, but everyone at running back always, this guy's getting steamed up late in the week. He's going to fail now. And I'm like, man, this guy ain't going to, if he fails, it's not because he was 30% owned on DraftKings.com on this fine Sunday day. It has nothing to do with that. He just could have a bad game, but usually there's chalk for a reason. Running back is where we like to get after it. But all you have to do, if you've got just Burrow, Chase, and let's say Ayuk or Kittle or something like that, you're already different enough. You can just start throwing stuff in there. So AP, I'm going to flip it back to you in a second for other thoughts. Before I do, guys, hit that like button. We want to get to the quickest 200 ever. Obviously, we came out of the gate hot with all the good mojo, the ticket season, ticket giveaway. A lot of good comments going to the chat. I know these guys are already in our side chat over here looking for some of these to take names down. So keep pumping those in there. If you're just joining us, we're looking for members to tell everyone in the chat why they should join Runpure Sports. And then we're looking for non-members to say why they want to join, why it could help them, how it could help them, all of these factors as well. So appreciate everyone chiming in there in the live chat. AP, after all that said, anything else at the quarterback position you want to talk about for this week?
Yeah, I mean, I guess one other concern I have with the Chiefs is this team's healthy. And, they learned last year how important it is to stay healthy during this stretch of the season because they did not last year at all, especially heading into that Super Bowl game. So despite like the Raiders coming in and beating them on their home turf and then like showboat, they drove their vans around the stadium a bunch of times and they're trash talking. It's a spot where you would want to just like Andy Reid would want to run up the score. I don't think that happens. I think if they get up, I think they play smart football. I think, and that's my one concern. Like it's been a while since all of these guys on both sides of the ball have been really healthy. So I don't think they're going to pressure the issue if they get up. It's like my one concern with that game stack. I love the Burrow call and then Josh Allen too. I just think we got to be locked in kind of on those guys. And I like your guys' comments on Taysom. I mean, I know Taysom's Big T's boy. What about pairing him with the defense like they did in Showdown the other night? Didn't he throw 4 picks?
Yeah,
for a pick 6.
it can work. I think that was an obvious and excellent play for it. I won't say obvious like condescendingly, just more like I just think when you think back to it, at least looking at it, like it just makes so much sense. And a guy like Taysom who does so much work for that team, and then he can still make the mistakes on the other side. It's something you need to look at a lot more when going into showdown slates. I loved that call that we had over here at RPS. So again, another reason to join. And AP, one more thought I had too, just bringing it up, but back to this Tampa Bay Buffalo game. Like I love the overstack. And I didn't talk about this enough when I went through it. And JT, I'll get your final thoughts on the quarterback position in a minute. And guys, if you want to talk more quarterbacks that tie in, throw them in the chat. We'll try and bring some stuff up as we go throughout the show. But I think what ends up happening is people, it can't be a Godwin week because he just had a good week. So it's got to be Evans week or they do all these conversation pieces around. It can't be this because it's got to be that. but every week just seems, if it's going to be a Tampa Bay Bucks week, it's going to be a Gronk week, a Fournette week, a Godwin week. And yes, maybe they can't all get there, but I personally don't mind having 3 of them with Brady and bringing it back on the other side. And then there's lots of guys, when we get to wide receiver, we'll talk about, between Manny Sanders, Beasley, Diggs, Knox at tight end. Like, I just think there is options within this game to get unique within it, where even though a lot of people are playing this game, you don't need to be all in is point number 1. And 2, there's ways to get different, which we'll help you guys with as we go throughout the show. What are your final thoughts, JT Hayes, at the quarterback position for this week?
Yeah, first of all, I agree with you. I think the Bills do win this game. And I think it's a spot where these types of defenses are the ones where Brady has rarely had problems, but it's against these defenses with athletic playmakers in the secondary. Only concern there is, yes, this is really their first test since they lost Tre'Davious White. But then again, the thing with Godwin and the thing with Gronk and the thing with Brady this week is how much you're paying for that stack. That is a half of your salary cap stack when there is some other value here on this slate. As far as the Bills side, I think Diggs is a little bit too expensive. I was digging into this game because this is one of the games I wrote up for the Gems articles. Diggs has really had one ceiling game this year, and that was against the New York Jets, who AP with COVID could go out and have a ceiling game against today. So I would think that a more contrarian way to stack this, Tambo, and we talked about this a little bit on Thursday, was you take Allen and you pair him with Beasley and Sanders. You don't include Diggs. You don't include Knox. Maybe you run it back with an Evans or a Gronk, something like that. So agree with those thoughts there. I think that the Bills, this is almost a must-win game for them with the way that the Patriots' schedule sets up. And keep in mind, they were playing in, 20-degree weather, heavy winds on Monday night. Now they go perfect weather down in Florida. Huge upgrade in terms of the game environment for them as well. One guy we didn't talk about, Justin Herbert against the New York Giants. I just don't see any way that this game is competitive, and I don't see that the Chargers will have any reason to push these guys to get to their ceiling games. Yes, they're missing Keenan Allen. Certainly sets up as a good spot for Mike Williams there, but the only way the Chargers get into a back and forth here with Mike Glennon starting for the Giants is if they get caught looking ahead, which they play the Chiefs on Thursday night. So in some of these qualifier builds that I have, maybe I'm going to pair Saquon and Sterling Shepard with some of the Chargers playmakers, just in case they're thinking more about that very, very important divisional matchup on Thursday.
Yeah, just one thing we didn't talk about too, not to, lighten the mood a little bit, but just back to the Buffalo situation, was obviously very sad and unfortunate news with Demaryius Thomas this week passing, and Emmanuel Sanders actually left practice, former teammate. I think you could definitely see a Manny Sanders spot here where he comes out, little tribute to his boy, the man, MVP, Demaryius Thomas. So I would absolutely love to see that personally. And I think that's just another way to go about being different. But let's move on from that. Let's talk about some running backs.
Tambo, real quick. I got one. I had it noted. You guys might laugh at this, but just speaking of like teams that at one point, were good and going against dusty teams. This is going to be, we're never going to get a Russ to DK Metcalf to Tyler Lockett stack ever cheaper than we are in this matchup against the Texans. So it's a matchup against the Tech. What?
Make it free, and I still will never play that stack together.
I mean, it's in a dome. It's against the Texans. I'm going to run it in one build. I just think it's like one of those spots where I'd be kicking myself because it's like those are his 2 main targets. We saw some good stuff in the second half of the game last week between him. They're letting him cook a little bit, but it's going to be low on 2, which is pretty nice.
I'm glad you brought it up. I talked about it with JT Hayes on the show on Thursday. I don't mind Russ. I don't mind doing it. I'm just saying I never play those 2 together because they cap each other harder than anybody else in the league when it comes down to that situation. Just for whatever reason, it's always one way or the other. The one good game that they had together was actually this season, and it was like 20 and 23, and they were like 6,700 and 7,200 or something. So it wasn't like they broke the slate at their price or anything. So maybe it was free, I would play it. Maybe I'm wrong there, but if at the cost, I know it's cheap, but I still think I like the play. I would say 2 things. One, you could just go Russ to Lockett or Russ to Metcalf. Metcalf's actually picking up some steam this week. But secondly, it's really hard to find a run back. So just remember, you don't have to run back that stack with a Texan. You could just play it again. That's unique enough where nobody's
Sexy
playing
Rexy. Sexy Rex Burkhead, baby.
We're looking for ceilings here for these large.
Yeah,
fields.
I know.
Everybody
I
in
got
the chat wants to win a tournament. So let's go. Let's move on though to running back. AP, give us your thoughts. I'll tell you what we got up top. It looks like Eckler, Gibson, Jacobs, Fournette. Obviously, these guys are going to be popular. The conversation around, do we play Jeff Wilson because no Elijah Mitchell, but looks like Debo's going to go. So all of these factors at running back, and then maybe some other guys that you like as well.
Yeah, Antonio Gibson with J.D. McKissick out is chalk. I definitely have interest in eating. Austin Eckler too. I think he gets a nice bump with Keenan Allen being out. I do have concerns about that game. It's just these games against the Giants, like they're just slow. I'm leaning towards just trying to like avoid it because I think some people are overreacting to Keenan Allen being out, and I think it really hurts their offense. He's the guy, that they really rely on, that Herbert really relies on to get it done, especially like in third down and key situations. And so without that security blanket out there, I think they could struggle a little bit more here than people are realizing. But Austin Eckler, I think, is that next guy that definitely could step up. But yeah, Antonio Gibson just sticks out. He has 28 and 36 total touches over the last 2 weeks in the same spot. 6K. I just can't ignore that type of potential volume. And then it's for me, it's like, God, like these Denver running backs, I think both are in play. I think they're just going to absolutely crush this Lions team. Like they're dealing with the flu, they're dealing with COVID, both their offensive line and defensive line. Like these guys weren't practicing all week. I mean, man, and it's the Lions. So like factor all of that in. I just see it being like, I wouldn't be surprised if, I don't think you play them together because we like ceiling, like you said, Tambo. But I might mix and match. I think Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon, one of the two, could definitely get there. So interest in them. And then I'm really trying to figure out what to do if I really want to play like a cheap, chalky Jeff Wilson or not. If the Bengals get up early, like I don't trust it. So I'm not really sure, but for me, it feels like on the surface, probably a 2 running back week.
Yeah, I do like the 2 running back call. I do agree that maybe if you want to get a little bit different, again, I just don't. I'm with JT Hayes. We talked pre-show. I never trust Kyle Shanahan, but you wanted to get different. I think it would be on DraftKings to go with a guy like Hasty. And if you're going to play like that stack, you could assume they're down, and that's who they're going to need from the PPR perspective. But not something I personally love. I just think it's definitely an option. The other thing you mentioned there too was with the Denver running backs. Here's the thing. If Gordon was announced out, Javonte would be chalk. So we talk about this all the time. First off, Gordon still could be. I don't think so because he's back at practice. They said he should be good to go. All the quotes, the coach speak, everything says he's there. But I don't hate having him as an option in the afternoon. Also, we just saw this like 2 weeks ago. It was A.J. Dillon with Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is likely to be out, or maybe he will play, or whatever. It was kind of like the Gordon situation. Everyone was in on Dillon. Last minute, everyone swaps off Dillon because there's no chance. And now that Jones is back, and he goes for like 21 at 5K or whatever he was. So Javonte showed some stuff last week. He's still getting 50% of the carries, even if Gordon plays. Very likely that he gets 50% of the carries, even if Gordon plays. Maybe it swayed 60-40 for a little bit extra love from last week. But here's the thing. It might only take one with Javonte Williams. So I'm actually not going away from him myself this week. And it has nothing to do with the chalk. It's actually great news. He's much lower owned than he should be. Our boy JSU not only loves Javonte, but it ties into the conversation and strategy piece as well. He always says, if you've got a guy that should probably be much higher owned or would be much higher owned if a certain situation came up, get some shares. And in large field tournaments, especially if you're willing just to take those risks, well, look, everything's a risk on the slate. You have no idea when you stack up Tampa Bay Buffalo if that game is going to go off, but you're taking that risk by playing it and putting your money on it. So why not take some risk and put some money on Javonte Williams as well? So I like him. I think you could pair him with the Denver D and hope that it doubles down where the Denver D just smashes this Detroit team that is completely done. They have nobody there this week. Some guy named Amon-Ra St. Brown, who did his thing last week, by the way, AP. JT Hayes had to go out and watch his boy, couldn't pronounce his name or didn't know how to say it. Next thing you know, this guy's on shows and on videos telling people he speaks 6 languages. He might even be a brethren to JT Hayes. He's got all the linguistics, everything going on over there, and that's JT Hayes' specialty. But JT Hayes, what are you thinking about this running back position this week? Talk to me.
Yeah, what a smash game by Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is now my guy Amon-Ra St. Brown. And Yeah, what a big win for Detroit, coming off of their Super Bowl this week. Now, as AP said, everybody's sick, everybody's out. The Denver defense is maybe the best play on the board, in all honesty, this week. But talking about running back, listen, you mentioned Javonte Williams. You mentioned Melvin Gordon. Javonte Williams looking around 14% ownership. Melvin Gordon just 2%. What do we do against Detroit? We play the running backs against the Detroit Lions. And when you have two that are going to get the bulk of the offensive work here, there's a path for both of them to smash. And at 2% ownership, Melvin Gordon, look, one of these higher owned running backs, I have a feeling it's going to be the San Francisco guys, but whether it's Fournette or Jacobs or Eckler, based on game script, one of these guys is going to not come through. They're going to fall short, just short, whatever it is. And if you're sitting there going into the 4:00 games with Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon in your lineups, I think you're going to be in really, really good shape. Alvin Kamara, probably my favorite guy here on the slate, simply because the Jets just can't stop anybody. And I think he's going to be the biggest piece of their offensive engine. Looks like Deontay Harris is likely to miss here as well. So interesting spot there for him. Didn't talk about the Dallas running backs. Pollard a little bit banged up. Zeke has been banged up all season long, and he's priced up now. Plus, Washington, not a team that you really run on. So off of those guys. Lenny Fournette, good spot here. Even if you take away the monster performance by Jonathan Taylor, the Bills are giving up an average of 20 fantasy points to opposing running backs over the course of the last 4 games. So underrated spot here for Fournette. Looks like he'll catch a little bit of ownership. And then other than that, I just don't think there's a lot. I personally know that James Robinson is cheap here, 5,800. Trevor Lawrence saying during the week that they need to get him more involved. But I think I'm going to take a wait-and-see approach on this Jaguars team. Looks like there's a whole lot of a mess down in Jacksonville with Urban Meyer.
Yeah, you said a few good things. One is the ownership may be 14% on Williams and 2% on Melvin Gordon, that also might be their yards per carry. So there's the problem right there. If you got 2 yards per carry from Gordon and 14 from Javonte, that's why I'm saying even at 50% shares, he could absolutely break one. And that's why I said I'll take my chances there. I like some of the other stuff you brought up too. The Kamara thing would just be the irony of the lifetime, of the year especially, but just forever irony if he takes away touchdowns from Taysom at high ownership. After all those times we played Kamara getting vultured by Taysom Hill, we see Kamara take it away from Taysom. I would love to see that. I think he's in a good spot. I didn't talk a lot about these guys, but like the Jacobs and Gibson situation. So JD McKissick just ruled out this morning. I guess it was kind of controversial because I think Schefter said out, and then Rappaport said doesn't look good. So I'm not really sure why they're on opposite sides there, but I don't really care. I think if you look at the last 4 games, they've been using Gibson anyway. So I already had a little bit of love for him, but he's popular going down, but he's also popular for good reason. I think Gibson, with, just the opportunities he's been getting, the workload, the upside, if you think they've even got a chance in this game, which I think they do, he makes a lot more sense. He does a lot better in the Washington football team wins than he does in the losses. Obviously, they don't use him as much. The other side, I like the Fournette call. I just think that's a guy that, like I said, he'll get some ownership, but people also always said, he can't do it again. He can't do it again. He's just a totally different back. And for whatever reason, they won't raise him up into the 8K range, yet he's still getting plenty of targets and all that stuff as he goes along. Guys, for the likes, obviously we're trying to hit 333 likes today because we're giving away $333 tickets. So let's keep it rolling with the likes there. We've got over 500 watching now and not quite half for the likes. So let's get to 250, little baby steps here, 250, 275, 300, and we'll close out with 333. We appreciate you guys. Keep coming with the comments. For those of you that are just joining, members of RPS, tell us in the chat why you love being a member, why others should be a member, what's good about RPS. For the other ticket, it's non-members. Let us know in the chat you're not a member, why you'd want the ticket, what it could do for you this holiday season maybe, and why you want to join RPS and what you think it could do to help you out. So let's keep it rolling here. AP, other thoughts just going down the list. I know, like you said, a 2 running back week. I tend to agree with you. I think, people aren't used to that because these last couple of weeks, there's been like 50 running backs you can play. So they're just thinking, what's my third running back going to be? I don't think you necessarily have to go that way, but there is some other guys that you could talk about down below, like any love for, well, I guess not down below, up top, Eckler, instead of going with Kamara, or going down the board to some of these guys like There's Jamar Jefferson, Godwin. I'm not going to try and pronounce the last name. James Robinson, who JT Hayes did touch on, but there's other guys there that you can go to. CEH. Any of these situations that you like this week?
Yeah, the Chiefs running backs. I mean, probably not Darrell Williams, but Clyde. I think he's definitely in play. Eckler, I think he's a phenomenal play. I just worry about the pace of that game and him putting up a number that can kind of break a slate, because 8,300, that's virtually what you want. I'm looking at this Denver Broncos schedule. They get the Bengals, Raiders, at Raiders, at Chargers, Chiefs to end the season. So like if I am the Broncos and I saw what Javonte Williams did last week, I think this is a spot where you showcase Melvin Gordon. Limited in practice all week. We saw, like, he should be fresh. We saw what Dalvin Cook did on Thursday night. Looked incredible. I'm not saying they're the same player at all. They definitely aren't. But this Lions team has no one. Well, I mean, they have people, but they've been sick. So I don't know. I think he's a really interesting, dusty but really interesting tournament play at running back. And then it's I'm going to mix and match some of these guys too, because one of these guys is definitely going up. I think initially I wanted one of these cheap guys from the Lions, but Jamar or God, but how? Like, I don't see how they're gonna be able to do anything. Like, they don't. Like, they're all like, I think they're trap plays at 4K. I know it's kind of tough to say that because they're 4K, but if they get you 6, which they each could, you're going to be pissed at the end of the day. So I'll probably avoid those guys, and I'm going to try to stay away from the super cheap running backs this week.
Yeah, one of them will probably pop only because it's that situation, or Hasty at 4K because everyone's more on Wilson. And the other thing to look at too, and FanDuel is a totally different site this week because their pricing is always Charmin soft, but this week it's like literally the worst I've ever seen. Like, they overreact to everything and underreact to other things. So you can play anybody and it fits. Like, it's like you can have that whole Buffalo Tampa Bay and there's not like, oh, I have to go down to a Sanders or a Gabe Davis. No, you can like get Diggs in there on top of Evans, Brady, or Allen, or whoever you want in there with these running back plays that as cheap as they are. So I could see over there doing some of this stuff, but I do think it's a bit interesting. Just going back to last week, and I'll give JT Hayes a second here to go through his final thoughts. The Godwin guy, not Chris Godwin, the Detroit Godwin guy, he was on all the dropbacks. So I think it was like 28 of 32, got some targets. He's been involved earlier in the season, even when there was the other guys there. So I'm not saying he's going to hop into a Swift role. Nobody will know until after the game. But again, if you wanted to take some risk, but there's the other flip side of it. And I don't know if you know these guys, JT, but the Jamar Jefferson side, anybody I talk to that I think is sharp or is out there digging in and following up on things says he's the guy you'd want to pick up for long-term, but we're not in it for the long-term. We're in it for the short-term, and that's for this week only. So I don't know if you even have to go there, but JT Hayes, final thoughts at the running back position, then we'll move on.
Yeah, with the Denver-Detroit game, I mean, if everybody was healthy, I still wouldn't be interested in the Detroit backfield, just how good the Denver defense has been, particularly at home. And I think you can get access to the Detroit offense through the Denver defense. I think, like I said, I think that's probably the best play on the slate. And then I think you're right. I think Hasty is probably the play for the San Francisco backs if you're going to pick one. But I don't want to spend my day. This is more of a enjoyment thing. I don't want to spend my day sitting there waiting to see which one of these guys gets the touches, because either one of them may not get the touches there. So yes, they're cheap, last man in. If you've got that, I agree with you guys too. I think it's a 2 running back week, so I wouldn't put them in flex. But if you're down and you got 4K or 4,400, you want to throw them in an otherwise absolutely perfect lineup that you love, fine. Other than that, I think I think it's a 2 running back, and I think you're staying essentially from Melvin Gordon on up in terms of the price point.
Yeah, let's stick with you staying here at wide receiver. I'll give you the guys, and you can flip into it. But Mike Williams, obviously no Keenan Allen, had a little situation there with close contact, got cleared down the way. He's ready to go. So Mike Williams at the top, getting the most ownership. And then it's the usual suspects. Chris Godwin, still cheap. I think it was 17 targets with 15 catches last week. Hunter Renfrow has eclipsed the 6K price tag, is now $6,100 here this week. And then somehow up the board, you've got DK Metcalf. I think the narrative that I brought up on Thursday is becoming more popular, JT Hayes, that it's time that DK is going to turn it on and flip that switch, and they're going to find their way here against the Houston Texans. And after that, you've got sort of a mishmash of guys, Crowder, Mike Evans, Cole Beasley, those sorts of guys down the board that are in this Tampa Bay and Buffalo game. What are your thoughts here at wide receiver?
Well, let's start with Seattle and just how bad the play calling has been from Pete Carroll. I mean, they go out and they sign Adrian Peterson and give him all the touches. Now, Peterson likely to miss here. I don't know if he's been officially ruled out yet, but he still have these 3 running backs that he likes to just run all game long. And that's the concern with a double stack here. Plus, I like the tight end in this matchup. Over the course of the last 6 weeks, Houston giving up the most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. But in terms of the wide receivers, yeah, I think Mike Williams. Remember, early in the season, Mike Williams, there was all this talk about they were going to put him in the Michael Thomas role. And they did for a few weeks. Then he got hurt. And then Keenan Allen came up and he took back over the role. Now that Allen is out, I think you could see Williams get the volume receiver role in this offense. He is just 6K. And I think that's a pretty good spend here. I like the Cincinnati wide receivers. I like that Chase is finally under 7K. I think there's a lot of noise about the drop last week, a lot of noise about his season kind of falling off there the last 4 or 5 weeks. And I think it's a great opportunity for them to get back on track with San Francisco depleted in the secondary. I think that a lot of these wide receivers on this slate, I think the trick here is a lot of these guys are just priced a little bit more than what their ceiling is likely to be. And so I looked and I said, okay, where are the guys that are maybe priced down a bit? Terry McLaurin's still a little bit high at 7K, but even though he's going to face Travion Diggs coverage, likely Travion Diggs giving up the most or one of the most yards per play when there is a reception in the NFL this season, could easily see this being a good spot at home for Terry McLaurin to have a big game. And then that Denver game, Jerry Jeudy is going to get, let's say 6 to 8 targets, could get more than that at 5,600. I think he pays that off. And then we talked about the Saints and we talked about the Jets. Traquan Smith, probably the likely guy there, but I think it's a thin play. And then if you really have a big set of balls, you could play Jamison Crowder at 4,700 because he's the last man standing on the Jets wide receiver core.
Yeah. Don't hate that at all. I like this position. I like a few things that you brought up there. AP, I'll flip it to you in a second, but just going, one thing I was looking at here while I was just listening to you, JT Hayes, is that range. So Godwin at 7,100 is like 20% owned. And I'm not saying he can't get there. I talked about, he makes sense in the stacks. You roll him, pick him or Evans, you get Gronk, you get Fournette, you get Brady, or you go the other side with Allen. That's how you can stack this all up. But just in that range, so 8K is Debo. It looks like he's good to go. So, man, what have they done when Elijah Mitchell has not been there? They've used him all over the map. So he could be a good play. But then just around him, nobody's playing CeeDee Lamb in that environment across from Terry McLaurin, F1 there at 7,100. And then you've got, or at 7,000. And then Jamar Chase, who we talked about earlier. All these guys are coming in around 5% owned. To me, they all have the exact same ceiling as Godwin. Godwin maybe being the cash game play or the higher dollar, smaller field entries. But you've got all these other guys there that can literally drop 30 or 40 on a good day. So, and nobody's playing any of them. They're going up, down, or playing like, Renfrow at 6,100 to get his 7 catches for 100. That's good. I'm saying, but it could be a day. I think today, to me personally, looks like a day you need 200 points. So that's where those ones will work in the higher dollar, smaller entry. I'm all about it. And getting after it like I did last week at King of the Beach. I just play the good plays that I think can rack up the points. But I think if you're taking shots, you're trying to get to the top of the leaderboard in these larger field tournaments, you got to take some of these guys in this 6.9 to 8K range. AP, what are your thoughts here at the position? Give me your Mike Williams thoughts off the top, just at the main chalk, and then go down from there with other guys that you like.
Yeah, I mean, I think in cash games, you definitely want the guy. He's the guy that could break the slate. So, but in tournaments, man, I think Keenan Allen, Herbert's the man, but like Keenan Allen is an incredible receiver, and he's just such a strong safety valve there. I think what this does is, if I'm the Giants, it makes it easier to scheme against them. Like you take away Mike Williams, you can focus a little bit more on Austin Eckler. I think we see like the Chargers, man, they're sharp. Their coach, sharp dude. I think we see guys like Darnold Parham work in. Like I think we're going to see a lot of like interesting routes, and I think we could see Herbert spreading around here. So how I'm getting different is in tournaments, I'm moving off of Mike Williams. I'm not saying he's not like a good player or anything. It's just one of those, if he breaks the slate, which he very well could, I'll probably just turn on a movie or turn on some NBA. You know, that's where I'll be. But that's how I'm going to get different, though. I know we're going to get to tight end, but Donald Parham, I think, is a guy that they could use in a few different unique ways here. Quick, big body guy, because they're going to need someone on third downs, third and 6, third and 5, when they've historically just gone to Keenan Allen, and he's just been a machine in picking those up. I think they're going to, I don't see Mike Williams being effective in that type of role. He's more of a deep threat guy. So that's my one concern there. I think so Tyreek Hill, I'm obviously my number one receiver, but take the bias away and everything. I mean, just think of the Raiders. If they don't make some adjustments from that last game, what are you doing? You got to think that they do something. I know they don't like playing the two safety over the top, but maybe they bracket him or shadow him or do whatever. But I think the top overall receiver could be Stephon Diggs, 8.1K. I just think, man, this Bills team, they're going to be throwing. They got to get their best talent involved. And if we get a shootout here, I think you're going to want, I know the Tampa side is attractive, but if the Bills want to get a win here or want to stay in this game, I think Stephon Diggs, you want him as a part of that stack, in my opinion. And then lastly, too, these Bengals guys, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, pairing with Joe Burrow, even cheaper than the Seahawks stack that I talked about, which in a potential much better game environment too, against a 49ers team that's actually capable of putting up some points. And man, this Bengals defense, I mean, what a game last week. There was 19 turnovers in that game. It was just ridiculous. I think this game could go over the total here. I think we could see some back and forth environment. I just, I'm not necessarily sure how to stack it yet. Or what runbacks from the 49ers side. I think it was you, Tambo, that said maybe you don't necessarily need one, but we do know where the passing volume is going to be on the Bengals side with Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So definitely two guys I like quite a bit.
Yeah, in the Cincy game, I think I love a run back. It's more so the Seattle game. I think you mentioned earlier with just talking in the chat with some other guys.
Yep.
I like Wilson with pick one. If it's Metcalf and you think it's his week, you could go him, Metcalf, Gerald Everett, who we'll get to in a second at tight end. We're running lower on time today for whatever reason, but we'll keep getting through it. But I'm just using that example where with Houston, everyone that you got to run it back because they have to get there. I just don't think there's anyone that you need to because they're not that good. And there's other plays that you can always slide in that make up for that. It's just that's part of the game theory and the strategy that goes with it. Some other things I like here. So Tyreek Hill, I think it could be a Kelsey week. I know last time out, he just always crushes the Raiders. He had 10 for 119 and 0. We saw it last week. People were on Heineke and they were on Gibson and they were on the Washington side. And the Raiders got after them with Crosby back and things like that. They had there from edge rushing where you got to get it out quick. Now, here's the good thing. Mahomes can get it out quick, but usually when he does, it's to those short passes to Kelsey. And then you just watch him truck for 20 yards. And on the day he ends up getting over 100, maybe gets in the box. It's been a while since we've seen him do anything really that big. So I think that's a spot you can go to. I'll give some of the other guys I like right quick, and then I'll let you finish it out, JT Hayes. But Crowder, I like for New York Jets. I know it's attached to Zach Wilson, but I think he's at 4,700, a pretty good play. I like Beasley in that game as well. The stat this week that's out there everywhere that I think is a good one is about the zone coverage that they utilize against with Tampa Bay, and that's where Buffalo tends to use Cole Beasley. So I think he makes some sense. Gabe Davis in that same game talked about Manny Sanders. So all over that game for guys that I like. And then going down the board, you could mix in, I guess, some of the Jacksonville guys. Laviska Shenault, if you want to go back there. Treadwell. I'm not saying you necessarily have to go with Trevor Lawrence, but I just think some of those guys. And then JT Hayes, before you give final thoughts, any love for Julio Jones? First week back, maybe the cheapest price tag we've ever seen on Julio Jones. Says he's healthy.
It's funny. When I woke up this morning, the first thought I had was, who is more fragile, Julio Jones or Jeff Wilson? Right? I mean, that's sort of a decision you have to make here is Julio's back. He's healthy. They say the hamstring is healed. He's got no competition for the work. He's got the second best matchup on the board, and he's priced at 5.4. So I think he's got to be in play. He's likely to break your heart, but if he comes through, could be a 25-point performance. and then you're not worried about Mike Williams. The thing about AP, I thought about your comments. I was thinking about this when I was thinking about that Charger-Giants game. That's the other game I wrote up for the Gems articles. And you mentioned what the Giants might do. Well, 2 weeks ago, the Giants said they were going to make changes. They made absolutely no changes. You mentioned the Chargers coaching staff is sharp, and I completely agree with that. Whatever the opposite of sharp is, that's what this Giants coaching staff is. I don't expect them to make any adjustments based on Keenan Allen being out. I expect them to do what they've done all season, which is show up to the stadium completely fucking unprepared to play an NFL football game. So I am worried about the 30% ownership on Williams, though. And I think, yes, you could definitely get different by going with a Crowder or a Julio Jones at a lower price point. And then just one thing, I didn't highlight it when I was talking about receivers, but again, I'll say, I think a contrarian way to stack up Josh Allen is with Beasley and with Sanders. Leave Diggs out of it. Let's just even look at the last 2 weeks, Tampa Bay, even when they've given up big yards to opposing receivers, wasn't Kyle Pitts, wasn't Michael Pittman Jr., it was the other guys on those teams. So they've managed to keep the wide receiver ones in check.
Yeah, and I like that. And Matt, just the final thoughts, and then I'll go to UAP on tight end. We've got about 10 minutes left. And guys, don't worry. We're going to give away the tickets. You're not going to miss out. It's just going to be something we have to go through. And we'll have the show coming up next with even more info. So if you need more conversation around defense and everything there, they'll definitely get to that within their game by game. That's with Big T, Hoop, and Holden up next on the Morning Wood, of course, free as well. So stick around for that. Almost at 333 likes. But JTA's last thing on that, I don't disagree with you, but I think what AP said, a lot of people looking for this Mike Williams situation. He's still priced up there. You never know. I think Josh Palmer, that's the other guy I wanted to bring up. 3,000 could be the guy. People chase Guyton from last week. Palmer gets it going, 3,000 even. I think, stone minimum. I think he's worth a shot or two to get out there. He would have been getting some more of those reps in practice while the others were at home trying to nurse this thing and make sure they don't come in and can test negative. So anyways, AP, let's move on to tight end. I want to get through all this. So tight end, we've got some guys there. Obviously, Hooper is going to be popular with no Harrison Bryant, no Njoku. But after that, it sort of thins out. Jared Cook getting a little love next to Mike Williams. What are your thoughts here at the tight end position this week?
Yeah, I think Travis Kelce is the safest option, but man, we just this season, like, we haven't seen that monster ceiling. So, like, while I really want to play him, it is somewhat of a concern. I do think this could be a Kelce spot. I just see a lot of high upside plays kind of at the receiver position where we might need a cheap tight end to make him work. If we want to go the Diggs, or if we want to do a full onslaught Bills Bucks stack like we talked about, you're going to need a cheap tight end. So as far as cheap, tight ends goes, I do have some interest in Darnold Parham. I just think he's going to be 1% owned, and I think they're going to use him kind of differently. So I think he's more of like a Millie Maker type play, but 4 targets last week, 5 targets against Pittsburgh. I think there are definitely worse plays in that range. And then, I think it's the Browns situation. So Baltimore's been very bad against tight ends. Austin Hooper is he's 3.4K, and he's all they have left at that position. So a ton of interest in him there. And then, I've heard some Foster Moreau talk. I don't really want to play a tight end against this Chiefs team right now. So I'll be off him. But yeah, I don't love tight end this week. I think what's going to happen for me, it's going to come down to, I might try to correlate it with my primary or secondary stack, as long as the opportunity is there for said tight end.
Yeah, that's what I always try and do. A lot of talk in the chat. I like this call. James O'Shaughnessy. I think he's a good little value there, where most are paying the extra $500 to get Austin Hooper. I think he makes sense. We talked earlier about Gerald Everett. I know JT Hayes, you might like him a little bit, but who do you like this week, JT Hayes? I obviously like Kelce at the top. I'll slide that in right quick, but who else do you like?
Yeah, I think Kelsey's a good play. You've got, it looks like Ricky Seals-Jones will be back with Logan Thomas out for the season. And then we talked, I think, Tammo, on Thursday about Gerald Everett. And here's why I like him. A couple of reasons. One, over the last 6 weeks of the season, no one on this slate has given up more points to opposing tight ends than the Houston Texans. But 2, 15 targets the last 2 games for Gerald Everett. 15 fucking targets for a 3.5K tight end in an offense that should be able to do anything they want against the Texans defense today. So people in the chat talking about, is it going to be Palmer that steps into the Keenan Allen role? That's a really interesting and sharp observations. One of the things that I've heard Bobby Gomes say in some of these situations where you say, hey, you think it's going to be one person that just slides over and takes the role. Hey, the Chargers could keep Mike Williams in that downfield receiver role and move someone else into the Keenan Allen volume role. And it could be Palmer. I don't think it would be Gaitan. And just a little bit of caution, because I love Donald Parham myself as a player. I can't wait until they throw Jared Cook to the curb and it can be his role. But the tight end position for the Chargers, they ran 4 tight ends last week. 4 tight ends got more than 20% of the offensive snaps. Jared Cook was the only one who got the bulk of the work, 55% of the snaps. So I think it's a little bit of guesswork with the Chargers. I was interested a little bit in Kittle, but with Deebo Samuel back, again, I think it makes that offense more spread out. And I can't pay $6,900 for Kittle if he's not going to be the number one guy. And with Deebo back, I don't think there's any question that the ball is going to get spread around there quite a bit more. And then in the Cincinnati game, if you're stacking up like I will be Joe Burrow, you're going to do it a couple of different ways. I don't see any reason not to involve CJ Uzomah. He's had a couple of big ceiling games this season. And again, San Francisco depleted in the secondary.
Yeah, another thing brought up in the chat too, Gronk just keeps getting after it. Healthy Gronk has been a thing, and at 6K, maybe people don't want to pay the price this time around. He's getting a little bit of ownership. I think he's 3rd or 4th on the list, but most people are paying down. I agree with you on the Kittle situation with Deebo back. Makes it really tough to go there. AP, any final thoughts at the tight end position?
No, I like the Gerald Everett play, and I'm going to change my just because I got to run a Russ stat. I might have to add a build in so I can do. I think if you do it, you make a good point, Tambo. You go Russ, DK, Gerald Everett, and then you go a Russ, Lockett, Gerald Everett. I think that is the correct path there.
I like that way to get onto it. Any defense you want to talk about, we'll get that in quick before we pick the winners and our winner for the week, our top off the chalk play. So what do you got at defense? Anything?
Yeah, I'm going Broncos. I'm showing somewhat lower ownership too. I'm with JTAs on them. I think just smash match up. They've been excellent at home. I don't mind spending up a little bit here for 3.8K Broncos. I think they're one team that could get in the end zone for sure.
So 20 shy of the 333 likes we're looking for. So hopefully before we get out of here and give all the winners, pick the contest winners, everything, you guys can bring that final shot of good mojo and get to.
If they hit likes, they get a free ticket and we're not even there yet?
No, they didn't need to hit the likes. There's no rules, but I just thought, 333 is pretty easy with 700 watching. So I know by the time we're done this next conversation piece, we'll be there. Appreciate all the stuff in the chat. You guys got to pick your winners here shortly. But JT Hayes, before we do that, any defenses you want to talk about?
Yeah. In the chat, I will say this. We've got it all on the back end. So if you put a comment in looking to get the ticket and didn't hit the like button, we're going to figure that out and we'll revoke the ticket. So let's be honest. Let's be above board.
Already there. It's already there. We already got it.
There you go.
400 says Hoop for the next show. Let's go. 700 watching, 400 defenses. JT, sorry.
I like it. Stretch goals by Hoop. It's awesome. Look, I was interested in Carolina. I was a little bit interested in the Charger defense, but now with the injuries to the Detroit Lions, I just don't think there's a better play on the board than the Denver Broncos defense. Number one, it's not a defense that you would have been shying away from in this matchup before the injuries. They've been really good at home. They've put up big games at home. Just last week, a couple of weeks ago against the Los Angeles Chargers, even though Justin Herbert had a good game, it was a defense coming away with 13, 14 fantasy points. So I'm all over the Denver Broncos today.
Yeah, I like them quite a bit as well. I like some of the other ones, just the Browns at 2,700 going against Lamar. You could go all the way down to the bottom. The Giants are 2,300. I think if you wanted to get on Barkley, who we talked a little bit about earlier, but yeah, we'll move on. There's a lot more to talk about. Like I said, stick around. The next show is free as well with Hoop, Big T, and Holden. The likes are pushing 400 now. Let's try and get there on the way up, but we got 2 minutes to pick winners. So JT Hayes, a member that wrote in the chat to get the 333 ticket. Who do you got this week for our winner?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I'm scrolling through the chat now, and there's been a lot of great comments. But I'm going to go with a guy who I've seen the name before, and he says he's an inaugural member. He signed up right at the beginning. I've seen him in Discord, seen him. He catches most of the live shows. Going to go with our guy, JT Gristle. Has nothing to do with the name. This is not a bias, but JT Gristle, thank you for being a loyal member from day one of Runpure Sports. Hit up Tambo and get that ticket. And also, every day during the week, 5 minutes before NBA lock, DMK Fallick and ask him for his score.
Definitely do that. Yeah, you guys can hit me up. A member in the Discord is fine, but also on Twitter at ToeTagginTambo. AP, who do you got for non-member winning the ticket this week?
Yeah, I can't find the comment, but I got to give it to someone that was in the chat early. His name was, I got it down, Sting Rizze Barnes. So he said he's been a long time watcher of the shows, loves everything that we do here. He said he fallen on some hard times, so wanted to give him the hook up there. Congrats, Sting Rizze Barnes.
Congrats to the winners. I love it. Always love the good mojo. We're always giving away tickets, having fun here. And that's the reason to join. Promo code SABER15. Get into the Discord, roll from there. We got to get out of here, though. We can't without our off the chalk play, though. So, AP, right back to you. Who do you got for your off the chalk play of the week?
Yeah, I got to go with the dusty guy. Since I'm feeling a little dusty myself, I'm going to go Melvin Gordon. I'm going to say that they showcase him. Keep Javonte Williams' legs a little fresh for this rough stretch that they have coming up, and I think he gets in the box twice this week.
Nice. I like it. JT Hayes, what do you got for us this week?
Yeah, I like that call a lot, AP. I like that call a lot. I'm going to go to my favorite stack of the day. I think it's one of the few underpriced stacks with a 6K flat quarterback. A lot of people down on this kid. This kid's a stud. He's going to have a comeback today. It's going to remind everyone why he should still be in the running for Offensive Rookie in the Year. Jamar Chase going to make the Niners chase him all the way to the end zone.
Yeah, if he catches it, and I hope he does, I'm with you on it. So I'm not dogging the play. I love it. I'll get us out of here, guys. I got my play. I was going to say Palmer because I kind of like the thought process around like my boy Title always says, there's levels to the shit. And if they're not going to Williams and everyone goes to Guyton, maybe it's the next level. But I'll give you what I would said at the top. I'm going the Manny Sanders, Demaryius Thomas tribute touchdown today. He's getting in the box in those Buffalo Tampa Bay stacks with everyone on Beasley, Knox, all these others. They all work. But I'm going with Manny Sanders to round it out. We appreciate you guys. This show was great. I think we're going to get the 400 likes before the next show flips on. So it was amazing to be back. Thank you guys for all the support, for AP, for JT Hayes, and for myself, ToeTagginTambo. Simon, get us out of here.
What is happening? It is a day that ends in Y, which of course means Runpure Sports viewers are shipping on a Showdown slate. Last Thursday, DFS superstar Whistles Go Roo joined JSU and BigT on the Thursday Night Football Showdown show to talk about the slate, and he took the nail on the head with a killer hot take.
I love the play of Taysom as captain, but put Dallas's defense also there. And I know that seems kind of crazy, and most people would think, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. But can't you imagine one running touchdown, one throwing touchdown, but then a pick six for Dallas tonight?
His recommendation to pair Taysom Hill with the Dallas defense, along with JSU and Big T's call to pair him with Deontay Harris, was the winning formula to ship Showdown tournaments.
I remember tons of slates where the studs like Kamara, Michael Thomas, he just wouldn't get them as involved, and some of the lesser guys he would pepper, and one of them was always Deontay Harris.
If you couldn't tell, our hosts have been on fire recently with some great calls on our premium content as well as Discord, including Holden, who has been pounding the table with Matt Breida on Thanksgiving, as well as Reset, Eli Mitchell, and Jalen Waddle on our Up to Lock show on Sundays.
Heggy B, what do you think of Elijah Mitchell? I mean, personally, he's right at the top for me. I've got a couple lineups with Elijah Mitchell. When he plays, he gets the rock.
NBA is firing on all cylinders as well, with Bobby recommending a 1% owned 40 burger for Santi Aldama on our final countdown show Thursday night.
Is there a guy named Santi really in Bobby Gomes' core from You Better Relax, Bro?
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad play. If he sees 17 minutes, they're kind of hurt. He's 0.94 fantasy point per minute play. He's a power forward. It's more of a large field thing.
Congratulations to all of our members on their huge wins, including E. Cunningham with his 560K hit on NFL Showdown, and Matt Ryan 858 with his 100K shipper on NBA. And huge shout out to our guy Tambo for coming in second place in DraftKings King of the Beach tournament. Tambo shipped 150K in week 13 with his Gardner Minshew lineup, so big congrats to him. If you are not subscribed yet, what in the heck are you doing? Join today with 25% off your first month with the promo code RPSHeater25. Make sure you check back soon for a huge announcement and, of course, Runpure.
It's the morning wood, and as you see, we've got some hoopage, we got some Big T, and a little Tyler Tamboline joining us here. What did you give away today? A 333? A 222?
333 tickets, yeah. We're gonna give those away. They already gave them out on the last show, and they're gonna hit me up, and we'll get them out to the people as soon as we can.
We always do sometimes we do the Friday news dump when you want to show up, and I decided to congratulate you on that. And I would like to do it again. Wow. I mean, Tambo is just on fire right now, people. I woke up, I watched the last 10 minutes of your show. I didn't hear anybody just going down on you for this. You deserve it, pal. Congrats. I mean, you went out there and tried to get that King of the Beach. You qualified, you finished second, you got a lot of money, and now you're giving back. Hello.
Of course. Yeah. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate everyone. I said this on the last show. Loved it. It was a lot of fun. It was a grind, right? You got to get in, win the queue, then winner take all, basically. Then you got to get in the second round and get down there and actually do something with your tickets. So happy to make it work. Happy to pay it off. Love the community. And now I'm trying again this week. I'm going for FFWC ticket. Get down there with the GOAT, Big T. I got the GOAT on the hat. My boy, Big T. I got to get down there with him, man. I saw he just picked up a ticket. So I'm trying today to get down there as well.
So we'll move on to Hoop now, looking ever handsome today. Good morning, Hoop. What's happening here? Didn't see the stubble, so I'll go back on that statement just a little bit. I'd say probably a 7 out of 10. What's going on?
Happy to be here. Happy that Tambo's on. I mean, we got to get some of this good mojo to, rub off on us a little bit here. I mean, Tambo just on fire, and then, giving the tickets away this morning, just creating all this great mojo. We wanted to overlap that into the morning wood. So excited to have Tambo on here for a little bit this morning.
All right, very good. And then, of course, the big man, Big T, Tony Niehaus. A new DK video has dropped. I don't even know what the hell happened with this Rubik's Cube thing. It was quite entertaining. But Tony, always wonderful to see your smiling cherubic face. How are you today?
I love coming on. And yeah, I'm happy Tambo could stay on, bring some of that good mojo our way, gets the job done. I mean, how rich is Tambo? That should be the hashtag of the day. 150K. We talked about it a lot on the Thursday show. The guy's the man, though. Does a great job, great content. Very well deserved. One of my favorite people in the industry, not just because he works with us, even before that. Congrats, Tambo. Excellent stuff.
Love working with you guys. It's always a lot of fun. Like I said, the community, it's the best part. People don't know. We talked about it earlier. Saber 15. It's a code. Everyone got codes, but it's not just about the code. It's getting in, being a part of the team, having fun in the Discord, the mojo, every sport. Yesterday, Mad Lab, Big T title, had MMA rocking for everybody. Hoops in there dropping a core. Just so much fun to be a part of. And I texted Big T that right after I shipped the 150 and just said, thank you so much, man. Like, I just love being here. It's a great place to be.
Don't be flipping it back on us. You're the main attraction today, Tambo. Yeah. Don't be saying I
appreciate it, but I'm just saying the truth, man. I do love being here.
Holden, there's going to be like an explosion here if you don't break this up. I mean,
that's fine. I want to see things. I want to see glazed donuts today. I'm so excited.
There's nothing wrong with glazed donuts.
No, there's not. There's not. I'm feeling awfully cynical and sarcastic today, so this should be a fun show. I'm looking forward to it. Now, Tambo comes out here like a buffalo on crack and gets us 400 likes before the show even starts.
He is kind of showing you up a little bit because I turned the show on like 5 minutes in and he was already asking for 200 likes. He's embarrassed.
He sets a pace that is intimidating. It really is. I mean, for anyone that hosts a show on a regular basis, the pace that Tambo sets is tough to keep up with.
How the hell does he get more likes than people watching?
People get their burners. They love me so much. Get their wives, get their burners, and get on there and hit that like button.
Yeah, I always say this too. Like the exchange rate from Canada, the dollar's worth a lot more. So like,
is that what it is?
Yeah, when he's on, every like from America gets 2, and then the Canadians
makes
get
sense
1.
all of a sudden.
The conversion ratio on likes.
He gets 1.3 for every like.
Is that what the exchange rate is? Or shitty dollar?
Something like that, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So let's get to 700 today. You know, Tambo got us over halfway there. It's not going to take that long for us to get to 700. Tambo, did you already give the ticket away, right? It's gone?
The people have not come through yet on the asking for the ticket, but the winners have been given away.
Would you stop saying 1 ticket? The rich man gave away 2 tickets.
2 tickets.
They're both gone? Oh
yeah.
2 ticket Tambo. That's what it was today. So it's changed the username up a little bit. 2 ticket Tambo, and we gave them away. So they'll hit me up. I said to them on the show, listen, if we don't get you in this week, it's not because we didn't try. It's just there always is that risk that sometimes it's got to be moved along, but the money's there. You will get the tickets. You will get to play in this tournament and try and ship 150K of your own, I believe, is the first prize at the top. So it's suitable.
It's JSU in the chat. Yeah, here's JSU. He's in the chat. It's just wonderful. Wonderful to see JSU today. We will get to the football, I promise.
Let me just hop in real quick. Jeremy F says, can we get some thoughts on the Blitz versus SaberSim? I mean, SaberSim, it's obviously a little biased. We got this partnership with SaberSim, but this is not like a short-term thing. This is long-term. If you remember at RPS, getting the SaberSim optimizer is a no-brainer because over time, you know, it's going to incorporate a lot more of our content. Big T's cores are going to be on there, JSU's cores, Tambo's, cash plays. It's going to be posted right on SaberSim. So if you're already a member at Runpure Sports, getting SaberSim is a no-brainer. And I mean, right now, if you're not a member at Runpure Sports and you want to get RPS and SaberSim, it's the cheapest price you're ever going to get it at. You know, our DFS product is $80. The SaberSim optimizer is $90. So you're looking at $170 if you pay both full price. Right now, we got the promo going. Saber 15 gets you 15% off that. Takes your price all the way down to $127. You're looking at basically like a $45 to $50 saving. So, yeah, Saber for sure all day.
Saber 15, correct? That's the code.
Yep.
SABER 15% off.
What did you say anyway? Saber versus what? The Blitz.
The Blitz.
What's the? Oh, the like that's just projections though. You can even put the Blitz projections in SaberSim.
I didn't know from me. I was gonna say that. That's all you gotta
Cardi
do.
does a good job.
Yeah. I mean, Cardi's got good projections for sure. I mean, the SaberSim's more the just overall, like Hoop was saying. You can put it all. You could have your own projections. I mean, we all have our own stuff we like to do. Put whatever in there, whether it's the Blitz, your own Holdens, friggin' anything. Put it in there.
I want Holdens. I want my SaberSim account to come preloaded with Holden projections. And that's what I freaking want. This is bullshit.
You know what? I think it came up this morning was Zach Wilson to like freaking Ty Johnson. That'll be the start of the core today. So that'll be great. Make sure you load my projections in there. Anyways, so you get Saber 15, you get our DFS site, you get the Showdown site, you get the bet site, and you get the SaberSim. So all that, you package it up right there. Instead of $190, it's $127.50. So,
and the one thing I do want to say, a lot of times when we run promos here, we set up these fake deadlines, not necessarily fake, but people are like, I still want to use it, so I keep it active. This one is a hard ending. It's going to be next Thursday morning. It's gone. Like I said, at Runpure, we can kind of wiggle around with the promo code because we have an accounting department of one, and it's me. So, we can keep the promos going as long as we want. But now we're partnered with SaberSim. We have 2 different teams we have to work with, and this will end Thursday morning. So now
the price is just too cheap. Like it really is just too cheap. You're getting the whole site optimizer for $127 or whatever right now, whatever it is. The last thing too, I keep saying since we've done this, but don't think you're going to sign up and it's going to be just like incredibly easy right out of. You got to learn. You got to play with it. I mean, Tambo, you've been playing 150 for a while. Like it's a learning curve. Like you can't, like this morning, if you're signing up right now, I'm not saying not to sign up either. Sign up, but play with it. But understand it's not just going to be that easy. And all of a sudden, you got to learn how to do. Even Hoop, when I was talking to him, it took him a minute to figure out the transition with the CSVs and just everything that goes into it. Like, it's a learning curve.
Here's an analogy that Holton's probably an expert at. It's kind of like when you get a new lady in the sheets. You know, your first ride with her, it might be good, it might be fun, but you're not going to know exactly what you need to do. You know, over time, the more experience you get with this partner, you kind of get a feel for it, and you know what you need to do, what needs to get done, and it's a more enjoyable experience. Holden, I mean, do you agree with that?
That's an awful. Yeah.
Bad analogy?
No, yeah. You just go straight.
That was a great analogy.
Oh, all right.
No, I mean, that's what a guy that's been married as long as you would say.
Okay. Well, maybe.
I love it when I say this, because if you look at Big T's face, it's the worst take to him in the history of the world. But no, you go straight.
That was
straight for the A, buddy.
You figure out the settings. Listen, you figure out the settings, you set the rules, you make your experience enjoyable and efficient and optimal and all of those factors, so you still have a great time. You still win.
How is that?
Holden thinks he's like some king in the sheets. Like he's going to please every lady, maximum effort every time. Like, come on.
As confident as you are in your cash lineup is as confident as I am.
Oh, Lord.
I am a cocksmith.
Oh,
cocksmith.
We need some testimonials.
Look at Tony.
Testimonial page.
I can send you some texts if you like, Hoop. I mean,
I've already gotten messages from you.
Now you know. Don't forget about it.
Make sure Mrs. Hoop doesn't see those text messages.
It's just proof. I don't know if anything's going on in my eye. I woke up this morning, was like half swollen shut. So if that's the case, fine. You want to be judgmental about that, to you. And then we'll get to the football here in a second. But again, we're looking for 700 likes today. I think we can get it. Tambo's here. Tambo, you going to hang out with us the whole show, or do you actually have to go build your lineup soon?
I'll hang out as long as you want me, Holden. That's what I'll commit to.
Hoop, how long we want Tambo? The whole show?
He already did the long show. I mean, he can, chat with us for a little, hop off, or stay with it. It's up to Tambo. I mean, he's the guy.
Make him feel wanted.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the one that told him
with us.
I'm the one that told him to stay on. I'd love for Tambo to stay on, but I know he's a busy man. He's got winners to pick, and everyone has their little Sunday thing going on with how they build their lineups and whatnot. So
I got the last thing for you, Tambo. You brought your wife down there, right, to America?
Yeah.
Okay. How did that go after you won?
It went pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indoors, outdoors, standing, sitting, laying down, every way. But
the rooms were actually good. The only thing is I got a bit of fear of heights. So, you can't go off the full balcony because it's 28th floor, things straight down. I was like worried seeing people from the inside the window. So I was locking the unit down to make sure that stayed shut. We could still kind of get a view up pressed against the window. So
you place against the structure, not the.
These ones were dangerous, Big T. Like these were like the ledges that are right short, and you just go right up and over. I could just see it from inside the room. I was getting anxiety.
Yeah, you can't be going that direction.
No.
I hate heights, man. I'm with you. I can hang out in a plane, but anything else I like even go to the up in the Space Noodle or the Space Needle. We call it Space Noodle because the kids.
Space Noodle.
Yeah, they call it the Space Noodle. You go. It's only like 500 feet, and I shit my pants when I'm up there. So I don't want to do that. It's the worst
stuff. It didn't used to bother me, but the older I get, the more fearful I am of heights. Like I used to be no problem. I'd climb anything. Now it's like, all right, no, let me come down to ground level a little bit closer.
What do you think of roller coasters, Hoop?
Never have been on one and refuse to ever go on one. I will never go on a roller coaster.
I'm not a roller coaster guy either.
I'm the bag holder. If you want, I'll go to Cedar Point or Six Flags, but I'll stand down there and hold the bag while people go on the rides.
Tambo, roller coasters, no way, right?
No, I'll do those. Yeah, as long as it's not like coming back from getting fixed or something. Like I'm definitely not going to be the first one on the guinea pig, but if it's up and running, they're pretty safe. You're in there. It's all good. And if the kids want to hop on or whatever, that'd be good too. I can't wait for that.
Also, just leave it with this before we get into the slate, because we do talk football on this show from time to time. I did a thing called the Zipper. I don't know if you've ever been to like the carnivals. There's carnies there.
Tambo did that after his victory.
Yeah, he probably.
That's what we call it.
So you're going this way and you're flipping at the same time. And I was like in love with this girl in high school. I puked all over her. It was just, and I almost cried. It was so bad. I was just like, I have no shot. And then we went to prom like 3 days later and she told me she was dating my friend's little brother. It was just awful. So anyways, let's get into the football part of the show. How does that sound? Tambo, would you like to lead us off, Mr. Red Hot Guy, Mr. Let's go and
get the Space Needle fired up. Let's roll.
The Space Needle fire. Oh yeah, we'll get to Seattle before long. There's a couple of shitty games in the early slate that I would not want to start with, but I do like this Dallas at Washington game. I don't know how much from the DFS side you guys are interested in it. I do know that Jerry Jones flew in the Cowboys sideline this morning, like the benches, they all say Dallas Cowboys. The whole week, the Cowboys have just been trolling Washington. It's amazing what they're doing here. Tambo, I want to get your thoughts because one of my plays of the day is from this game, and it's going to be I'm not going to give it out. So anyways, Dak on one side, we got Heineke on the other side, Zeke Elliott in for a massive workload. Some nice matchups here for the Dallas wide receivers. There's no pass rush for Washington now. Ricky Seals-Jones is in there, so maybe that's some salary relief, and Antonio Gibson. So please give me a rundown here, Dallas and Washington.
Yeah, I think this is a good game, actually. I've talked about a couple plays on the previous show that I like. I think just at wide receiver in general. So we know Gibson is going to be popular. We understand that already, especially with the latest news. It sounds like McKissick will be out. I said it earlier. I didn't reconfirm because I stayed on through the shows, but Schefter said out, I believe, and then Rappaport said looks unlikely. So we just assume he's out. So Gibson's going to pick up steam, but I actually like some of the receivers in this game and the quarterbacks. Even you go back to the well on Heineke if you wanted, but everyone's overlooking the wide receiver position with McLaurin and with CD Lamb. I think they're both right there in the middle, and that's two guys you can play. And then before the show, this is a producer Simon play of the day. I like Curtis Samuel could be back in there in the JD McKissick role. I think that's actually a sneaky play, and I really do like that one quite a bit, come around to it. So we didn't get to talk about that on the last show. I got to make sure that gets brought up. And someday Simon's going to come out of the woodworks and get on the show with us here as well, because he's got the plays. He's almost shipped a couple showdown slates too. So Curtis Samuel, fire it up. He looks good too.
Okay. Hoopage, what do we got in this game?
Yeah, I mean, Antonio Gibson, I think, continues to be a phenomenal play, assuming McKissick's out. And we can kind of assume that. I mean, one guy says he's out, the other guy says unlikely. I mean, he's not going to play. And, we were on him last week. The price really didn't move all that much. Going to go right back to him. I mean, the main thing here is the receptions. I mean, 7 targets, 6 targets, 7 catches, 5 catches. So not only is he being heavily targeted in the passing game without McKissick, he's converting those into catches, which is also important. So I think just a really high floor play here. He's going to play as many snaps as he can handle. He's good if the football team is playing with the lead. He's good if they're playing from behind because he's going to get the receptions. Just a really strong play here, really strong price point, I think, on both sides. 7.4 on FanDuel, 6K on DK. Better on DK just because he's catching these passes. And then Zeke is the interesting one. It sounds like Pollard is likely going to be out. Zeke has looked so dusty, like so dusty and injured. So he's got the deadly combination of looking bad and having some sort of injury. But without Pollard, you have to imagine he just gets all the work here, and they're favored by 5 in this game. So you have to consider him. He's under 7K on FanDuel. He's 6.9K. I think that's where I'd probably prefer to play him. Not a slam dunk play though, because like I said, he looks dusty and he might still be a little bit injured. Got a lot of firepower at wide receiver here. I don't think any of these guys are going to have much ownership. CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Gallup. Really? I don't think they're going to be all that owned at all, really. So bunch of low owned wide receiver plays, big upside guys. I don't hate sprinkling these guys in tournaments, but for me, it's Gibson is a phenomenal play. And then Zeke, I haven't really decided what I'm going to do with Zeke today.
Tony, what are you doing with Zeke today?
He's one of the more interesting spots of the day just because of what Hoop said, how bad he's been, how injured he's looked. But then you get Pollard out of the backfield, and they want to feed this guy. I mean, he just gets tons of volume. I don't know, with Pollard out of there, he's an interesting play, and I don't think he's going to get ownership. Tambo's really good with ownerships and talking about it, so I want to hear what he says, even though you asked him already. But I think he's a good play. I don't know how good he fits roster construction, which makes him even lower owned. I think he's a very good play. I don't know how much I'm going to play him, but I do think he's good. He could be like a 20% guy where I think he comes in probably under 10% or around 10%. And if you get 20, 30%, you're way above the field. And I don't know. I think he's got a lot of upside. They love to use him. I don't really love the passing game, so it's a good way for me to get some exposure to this spot. Obviously, I like Antonio Gibson too. I wrote McLaurin off last week, so if you really want to stick it to me, if you're a troll in the chat, you want to stick it to me, jam McLaurin today because I've talked him up every week. He just hasn't got it done basically all season for me. So finally wrote him off. Definitely not playing him today. So if you want to stick it to me, play him. But Tambo, what about this Zeke ownership? You're good with these ownerships.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely be under. You brought up a couple good points there. One, it's hard to get him in, right? People aren't doing that. Two, I love opposites, opposite defenses, opposite running backs. If everyone's playing Gibson, you can always go the other way with it. One note about Gibson, not that I don't like him. I actually do like him. I just think it scares me a little is all his wins and all his big results have come in wins. And that's the difference. I saw a stat even last week. That's why I used him last week. And I just said, I'm eating the chalk no matter what. Last week, he was like 60% owned in that King of the Beach tournament. I said, that's fine. Because when you looked at it, if in the wins and the games that they win, he has like 5 more DK points per game. So if you think Washington could stick in this game and be there, I don't mind it. On the other side, though, using Zeke, it's one of those spots I hinted at the show previous with in regards to Javonte Williams, what JSU always talks about, not his love for Javonte, but just the situational stuff. It's kind of like what you just said, Big T, with Zeke this week. And everyone knows it's probably a good play, knows it's likely Pollard's not going to be in there, probably should be higher owned than he is, but they want to go to Kamara or Eckler or drop down. So he's just right there in the middle. And even if he gets steamed up to 15 or 18 or whatever that percentage might be, I still think he's a really good play that you can get after and get overweight on.
In the chat's talking about snap counts. I'm not even remotely worried about that. If Pollard's out and he's in, I don't worry about stuff like that. I just Holden, what do you think about the snap count issue or whatever?
He's getting in there. I think he's scoring a touchdown today. I don't know about the total yards. I think he's scoring a touchdown today, though.
I mean, he might get 2. His projections, but I might need to get me more Zeke. I think Zeke's a very good play. I wasn't expecting that too coming into the
game. And another week too. I mean, he's looked pretty banged up. I mean, maybe he's not as banged up today. 7 days to potentially rest it and get some treatment on it. If he's even just a little bit healthier than we've seen in the past like couple weeks, could be in for a big game because if they get a lead, they're not running anyone else. It's going to be him, whether he is dusty or injured, whatever it is, they're still giving him the ball. I mean, they're playing him over a guy that looks like one of the best running backs in football. I mean, they're playing him over Tony Pollard, who just looks amazing when he's out there. So they have a lead in this game, which the line indicates he's going to get all the work.
All right, guys, like button would be nice. We got Big T, Hoop, Tambo, and also our latest code is SABER15, SABER 15. You get first of all, you get all the sports, not just football. NBA, UFC. I think UFC probably went pretty well last night. I'm seeing a whole bunch of screenshots out there. Everybody was
talking about UFC on this show with me. Tambo was up there for a while too.
Yeah.
It didn't end well, but it was going very well. There was a lot of winners picked on that show yesterday.
Yes.
Again, another free show that's just out there for everybody. Just incredible stuff. It just didn't finish the way we'd hoped.
It was maybe the worst
run out
plus night I've ever had as far as the run out. It was absolutely tragic the way it ended. With still having a profitable night.
Whew. Nunez lost too. Just on top of the DP versus Oliveira. Like, it's just insane. That's just not something.
I'll tell you one thing though, in that Oliveira fight, like if Oliveira does not get knocked out by those Poirier punches, like who is going to beat him? Like if he can take those punches, like he can't lose. If he can
came back in that third round and he it was like he hit the turbo button. All of a sudden it was like, holy shit, how did he get this much energy?
It is not. That was nuts that he was able to absorb all those hits early on and just come out in that. Yeah, like you said, like he looked like a guy that was just fresh and didn't even fight in the first 2 rounds and just took over. It's impressive.
Just a side note too, Big T, I was with you on that show. Everything Mad Lab says, the guy's so knowledgeable. It's incredible you got him on, but I was laughing because everything he would say, I'm like, okay, I got this guy. And then he goes, but I got this guy as the winner. I'm like, what? I'm on the other dude. I'm like, I thought you sold me on this guy. And that's what it was like the whole night. And one thing
that's
he said was,
I swear I'm good at that. I don't know why. And I don't, it's just weird. He says something and he might not have even known he said it. It made me like someone and he didn't even mean to do it.
He picks the other guy. I was like, oh, I thought you liked the other side. So I was playing the other. I already had it plugged in my little dummy lineup as we're going.
That was a great show. I mean, phenomenal show, by the way. I mean, spot on with just, I mean, I thought the one dude, the France guy was just like the lock of the slate. And obviously it's easy to say after he puts up like the highest score, but like he was just
it always feels better when our locks come through and crush.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Saber 15. So
it
you
was
get
a
the
good free show, though, Holden. Sorry to get distracted.
I'm sure it was.
Get Mad Lab and Title on there together. It was just awesome. I didn't completely kill the show hosting it, which I was worried about since I suck at hosting, but I'm glad it was a good show.
Title, are you watching and is it your birthday? That's just the 2 things I need to know.
Is he up to like 22 now, or how old is he?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He's finally legal. And
is it 21? He's
like my sense is that he's 23 or 20.
I think he's 25. I'm pretty sure.
Get out of here. Really? 25?
24 or 25.
You can't live with your parents until 24. I'm sorry. I mean, I love Title, but at least
he's on his own now. Now he's out.
Yeah, I know. Now he's out. So it's like he's a man.
Living with this Andy Hoyman that always comes in stroking him no matter when. I mean, back to the best. No matter what, whenever Title comes up, all of a sudden Andy Hoyman comes in just full stroke.
That's Title's burner. Title is definitely Andy Hoyman. Well, let's just start calling Title Mr. Hoyman.
Just test it like 2 weeks from now. Start stroking him and watch. Or start calling him out. Either way, you'll see Andy Hoyman come right in there.
He's 23
for the dub. I mean, yeah, it's pretty good. And then the other thing I want to let you know is hit the like. Tambo, you're the like master. I mean, come on. We need 700 today. Can we get going here?
We need to. We're just at 500. There's almost 1,000 watching. That's 50%. Yeah. You can get up to 700. We just need to keep pumping it. But I just talk about it all day, and that's what I try and do. So just keep it rolling with that, and we'll get it up there.
All right, boys. Next game.
We're setting a good pace. We've talked about one football game so far.
I know. I'm a little concerned that me and JSU and JJ are going to have like a 30-minute up to lock show. Might be a little problem, but who cares? Come on, we're having a good time.
Yeah, no, we're golden.
We're fine because this Jacksonville, Tennessee game is not going to take too much time. So Hoop, we'll start with you this time. What do you want to do, if anything, from this game? I don't think anyone's going to be on James Robinson. I just don't know if he has the ceiling. We got Foreman. We got a 3-headed monster now in the Tennessee backfield. So I don't know if I love that too much. Julio Jones is back, so I look forward to his hamstring falling out on the field. Anything from this game?
Yeah, I'll keep it simple. I mean, these guys might have more interest in tournaments and the full, 150. James O'Shaughnessy, I think, is a fine, cheap tight end on DK at 2.9K. And then Julio, I think, is interesting in tournaments, 5.4K. Without A.J. Brown, obviously, that's it for me.
Tony, what do you got? Jacksonville and Tennessee.
So I want to like this Foreman. I mean, I was on him a few weeks ago, but like you said, there's 3 running backs now. I mean, if this game turns ugly, especially, I don't know. They probably do space it around. Probably don't need to use them. I did want to use them, though. I mean, it's a really good spot if you thought he would get the workload. And, I mean, he got 19 carries last week. I don't think McNichols was active last week. Was he, Holden?
No, he's coming back this week.
Okay. Yeah, I better stay off him. I wanted to pull the trigger, but I don't think I'll play him. I mean, Julio's interesting just because he's 5,400 on a team with no receivers. So he's definitely in play for me, but not like one of my favorites or anything.
Okay. Tambo, anything from this game?
Yeah, real quick in the large field stuff, just secondary stacks. I actually don't mind going to Foreman. Either he's a good DFS player or he's a amazing bet on the under because the Vegas props really like his rush yards. So you could just slam that if you don't like it. But I think, like Hoop said, with James O'Shaughnessy being 500 cheaper than Hooper, you can go to James O'Shaughnessy with Foreman or Treadwell with Foreman or something like that. And then now Julio is in the mix for that secondary stack as well. I don't expect them to be popular, and they can be enough to just set your lineup up to be unique, regardless of the chalk built around them. So that's all I'll say about that.
All right, let's just move on to the next game then. That's hot garbage. And Tony, Seattle and Houston. Can we find some stuff here? Do we trust Russell Wilson on the road? What's going on with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett? Seattle's run game is a bunch of garbage. And then on the Houston side, do we even bother with Brandon Cooks or anybody from that side? I know the Seattle defense might be a little popular. Give me a rundown of this Seattle-Houston game.
Yeah, I'm going to speed this show along. I don't like
Good.
anything in this one.
Tambo?
Yeah, I leaned off this quite a bit. I talked about it a little before. The only thing you could do is if you wanted a Russ Wilson with one of Metcalf or Lockett, and then you could add Gerald Everett in there, but I don't think you need to run it back. I don't really like it for that reason.
Love me some Gerald Everett today. Hoop.
Wait a second. You love Gerald Everett today? You can't you can't throw your little Holden tidbit out there that.
No, I'm saving the good one for the premium show.
You
Last
just
week
snuck that in there. I play all the guys.
Deontay Johnson on the premium show. You got to sign up for the good. I'll give you. This is the B play. Is Gerald Everett, man? I love him today.
The B play. Where's he at? How much?
He's 3.5K.
He's right there with Austin Hooper, who's going to be popular in cash.
These are the plays that you meant. You got to talk these up more. Holden.
All right, fine.
I've been telling you this all season.
Here's what it is. He's got 27 targets in his last 4 games. He should have scored 2 times last week. He legit had the shittiest game I've ever seen a player have. Well, it's up there though. He fumbled at the goal line.
Shittiest game you've ever seen someone have. You just said.
Houston's. If we're looking at DVOA, they're 28th against the tight end position. We know that Metcalf has struggled. We know that Lockett has struggled. And Gerald Everett at tight end, he's cheap enough, and I don't think anyone's going to be on him because he was so bad last week. So that's one guy that I like. Although last week, my plays were Madison, who kind of hit, and then McLaurin, and then today you're telling me you didn't even play McLaurin, so he busted. So that was good.
I played him last week.
Okay.
Yeah, he's talking about. I said last week was the last week.
Yeah, you're done with him now. Yeah, I'm done with him. Yeah. Stick a fork in him.
I mean, you can't hit every play all year, Holden. I still want to know your plays.
Okay, that's fine. I don't. I was hoping you didn't play it actually, but it didn't.
I played them all year. I keep talking you up, and you keep pretending I'm not talking you up. I want your damn plays.
All right. Well, there's one play. It's Gerald Everett.
Everett is the Hooper pivot too. $100 more than the super chalk cheap tight end. You had the Ryan Griffin call last week too, Big T. If I had to get off that loser Foster Moreau, I would have shipped the whole thing.
Well, don't tell me you would have really shipped it if you would have switched those two.
I think they calculated. I think I was like a point short. It would have been good. Still, it was close. I was like, damn, I should have just went there. But
that was a really good pivot last week. Seriously, I haven't had many good calls in NFL main slates, so I'll take the one victory lap I could have. That was a good play. The dude was like, seriously, he was 65% owned or something, and my dude was 1%. And they're literally like the same play to me. Sure, one was way more high projected for sure, but I don't know. Whatever.
Tambo, anything? Or did we already get to? I don't know. We've been all over the place today. Nothing from that game. Hoop, nothing from that. Let's just move on to.
I do like that recall. I mean, I think he's a fine tight end option. I mean, if you're going cheap at tight end, you're going to mix in a bunch of these guys. I'd definitely include Everett.
Okay.
Like Tambo said, it's the perfect pivot off Hooper. If everyone likes Hooper, just pivot on to Everett at tiny ownership.
I like Cooper too, but Everett's, I just think no one's going to be on him because he was so bad. Like, it was awful, man. It was rough watching because I rostered him last week too. And it was, he should have had 2 touchdowns, man. It was so tilting. All right. So Seattle and Houston, get rid of that one. See, we did have time to dick around at the start of the show because we just had 2 games we had no interest in whatsoever. Tambo, let's go back to you for our next game though. It's the Raiders at the Chiefs. You know what? If you remember that first game, the Raiders, they were cocky enough to think that they could be the one team that played cover 3 against the Chiefs and get away with it. And it didn't work out too well. I don't know what they're going to do this week, but there's got to be a few plays in here, Tambo, that are standing out.
Yeah, I think the usual suspects for sure. It looks like Mahomes not getting much ownership at all. Obviously being at 8,000, I think he's a great tournament play based on the fact that for just a little bit less, you get Allen and Brady, who I like both those guys. But as I often talk about, if I've got my majority of focus on that game, which I do, I can still have the other 50% of my lineups focused on something like this, a high ceiling spot. You've got Tyreek Hill can break a slate for sure. You've got Kelsey, who going against these Raiders, doesn't matter if it's the second game of the year, division game or not. He just always continuously beats up on them. And now I saw it last week. I hinted at this the previous show with Raiders having their guys back, like Max Crosby and stuff on the edge rushing. He picked up a fine last week for it, mind you, but they're there. And that makes guys got to get the ball out quick. Mahomes can get the ball out quick. And it's usually on these tosses to Kelsey, Hill. So I think that side of it is just fine. I know some guys like the running game there with CEH, but also the other side is the popular picks, right? You've got Josh Jacobs with nobody behind him. And then you've got Renfrow, who's Hoop's boy. So I'm excited to hear Hoop talk about Hunter Renfrow, Big T to tell him he's trash, and then get the Jacobs takes, because I do want to pick these guys' brains on this, especially with Josh Jacobs. I mean, it's a 10-point underdog spot, but he should get involved still. Like, what are they going to do here? Or is it just going to be a Hunter Renfrow smash day?
Okay. Hoop, is it a Hunter Renfrow smash day?
It's every day. I mean, every Sunday for sure. And then if they're playing on Thursdays, it's a Thursday Hunter Renfrow. If they somehow get a Monday night game, it's going to be a smash day. I mean, it's always Hunter, especially today. I mean, no Waller, super thin at the receiver position, 9 targets, 10 targets in his last 2 games. The good thing about him is he converts those targets into catches at like one of the highest rates in football, 8 catches, 9 catches, over 100 yards. It just seems like a virtual lock to get like 8 catches here and 100 yards. If he somehow gets in the end zone, he's going to have a monster game, and the price is just too cheap. 6.1K. I mean, I think we might get Big T on Hunter Renfrow today. That is my goal at some point. I'm hoping it's today. Could be wrong, but sounds like Tambo likes him a little bit. Sounds like you like him. Maybe we can convince Big T to play Hunter Renfrow.
You want to know how to get him to do that, Hoop? That's my play of the day.
Is it?
No, it's not. It's not.
Oh, come on. You have me excited.
I would get on it.
You have me excited
if I said that. So
yeah, I would get on it if
he's a good play though, man. Like, nobody respects him. He was always in the mid 4s, and now he's up at what, 6'1", Hoop?
Yeah, 6'1". I mean, great play. Josh Jacobs, I think, is in play. I think he comes in lower owned than people think, just because people don't like playing running backs when they're 10-point underdogs, especially like these, workhorse RB1 type guys. They don't want to play them when they're huge underdogs. So I think he comes in relatively low on, but I mean, you look at last week, 9 targets. They're probably playing from behind here, obviously. I think the Chiefs would be fine, if they have a lead and they give up a bunch of short passes to Hunter Renfrow and Josh Jacobs all game long. So both in play for sure. Renfrow, obviously, I think more popular. Jacobs, maybe a little less popular. And then on the Chiefs side, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelsey, Pringles 3.2K. I don't even hate the running backs. I mean, the Chiefs are a little bit different this year. If they have a lead, they're willing to win like nasty games. They're willing to grind out the clock a little bit. They're willing to let their defense put in the work. So it's a little bit of a different team. Like in the past in these spots, I would never consider like Edwards-Helaire or Darrell Williams, but I think in tournaments there's some interest there for sure, and likely low owned too. Kelsey, obviously a great play, better on FanDuel where we don't have these super cheap tight ends, and then Tyreek Hill's a premier spend at wide receiver. Not many guys to spend up on at the wide receiver position, but Hill's fine. Although he did drop just like ton of nasty drops last week, like he's been pretty bad, but clearly big upside for sure.
There was a player you were just talking about that JSU is high on, our boy JSU. And if you're a subscriber, you can get that play. Saber 15. We'll get back into that in a minute. Tony, what do we want to do here? Anything to dig up? Hunter Renfrow, obviously at the top of your list.
I think Renfrow is like the best example of all time of a hoop play versus what I think is a good big field tournament play. And that's a compliment to him for always playing the good plays. I just don't think he ever really wins.
This is where those worlds collide, Big T. This is where the worlds collide.
Definty not where they collide.
You got the bonus. If he gets in the end zone.
Very high owned, and he doesn't have upside. That is not a play for Big.
I want 20 DK points.
That's what I mean, but I don't want 20 for 6K. I need like the 30-point upside. I don't think
if he hits the end zone, he's going to be at 30. Like we've had this conversation before. Like he
hasn't hit 30. He's been nowhere near it.
He's like 24. Oh my! I mean, what did he hit on Thanksgiving? Oh, okay, 22.
It looks like
whatever
22 or 22.
He hasn't hit the end zone. When he hits the end zone, he's there.
8 for 134, and he got 22.
Well, because the difference between him and Cooper Kupp is he catches the ball and just falls. Cooper Kupp like punches guys off and runs to the end zone. It's priced in.
I mean, since we've had that argument, though, he's gone 13, 18, 18, 7, 21, 19.
Good numbers. Good numbers.
It's good numbers for you, Tambo.
Pull up the top wide receivers. Pull up Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Let's say Tambo.
Pull up. I get the upside.
Okay,
I get that, but every wide receiver, there's these wide receivers.
Yeah, but you're not going to win a big tournament with 19.
I get that, but there's not many guys that are going for freaking 30 a week. I mean, okay, you got Devontae, you got Justin Jefferson. There's like 2 guys that go for 30. You're only playing Devontae and Justin Jefferson every week?
No. I mean, Tambo, how many guys did you get that got 30 last week when you won?
A bunch.
Yeah, Deontay Johnson. You add another guy into the mix. I mean, yes, last week there's 3 guys that got 30.
I don't want 20. I playing 30% on Hunter Renfrow is not.
But Big T, who do you want though? Because in the same range, you've got Mike Williams at even higher ownership at the same price.
Take Big Mike.
But
Big
then
Mike
you've got
has
Marquise
40-point
Brown.
upside.
Yeah, Marquise Brown is there, DJ Moore, and Amari Cooper.
Do I have to play that range? Is there a rule?
Well, if you're talking about a pivot, you can obviously build differently, but we're saying in Hoops World, he's building to not lock down those PPR points and get some
playing
upside.
Renfrow. Like I don't need to. Like that came pre-built in his lineup. There was no way.
I mean, it's very simple. I mean, he literally has something against white wide receivers in the NFL. There's
it's called upside. Upside. My favorite team of the day is the Bills. I can't wait for everyone to be like, "Oh, let's play Cole Beasley." It's so sneaky to play.
That's
Cole
what I was
Beasley
just going to go to. I was just going to bring that.
Don't play Diggs. Let's play Cole Beasley today. It's so sneaky, guys. It's so sneaky.
I will be with you. We will be on the same side of that.
Dude's playing on one leg, and he's so sneaky today, though.
We'll be on the same side of that argument. This one with my boy Runpure, I just cannot wait. And this could be it because I'm feeling good about it. Where he gets that 30 piece. I can just.
So how many weeks does it count for? Like 3 seasons?
How many guys in the NFL go for 30? Like, there's not many guys.
And he's not going to be one of them. I'll tell you that, Hoop. But you'll get.
You finally jumped in. Thank you.
He flipped on me. I thought you were with me. We were arm in arm. Renfrow. Now you're gone.
For 20 points, I'll use him in the big Q. But I ain't going to put him in this large field tournament looking for any. He's going to get 20.
He's getting.
That's what 30. He's going to do.
You guys are already you're foreshadowing. You're forcing me into the rich parents play today right here. You're forcing me into this now.
Oh boy, let's hear it, Hoop. Just give it away. We know who it is.
Fuck the likes. We don't need a certain amount of likes. We're going straight to the rich parents play of the day. I don't give a shit. You can start disliking. Take away all your likes. Get rid of them.
We're going to rich parents play in the middle of the show for the first time ever. Run it.
Hey, let's go, Hoop. Hunter Renfrow, huh? All right.
All right, then fine. Yeah, well, you know what? Screw it. At this point, there's no turning back. I mean, the Sunday morning rich parents play the day is clearly Hunter Renfrow. He's getting 30. I don't care what anyone says. He's going to get us freaking 30. He's going to win us tournaments. He's going to win us cash games. He's going to win us 3-mans, 5-mans, 20-mans, 100,000 person fields. Hunter Renfrow needs to be on your lineup or you're not winning cheese today. That is it. Let's go.
Oh my God. Amazing.
Hoop just took
the
out
middle of the show.
Put it on the table.
Hunter freaking Renfrow. Boom. Let's go.
Yep. And the only reason you don't like him because he's white wide receiver, Tony. That's the only reason.
And he hasn't scored more than 20 all season.
But he just had 22.
Okay. Monster.
Tambo, you want to
touchdown away from 30? He's always a touchdown away from 30. Okay.
Oh man.
One touchdown away from 30.
Welcome to the show, Tambo.
This one's a bad one. This one's a bad one. 30 points from Hunter Renfrow, not happening.
20. Oh my God. I might have to do a Monday morning review show like by myself. I'm gonna go.
You can join us on the review show Monday, Hoop. We'll talk about it.
Hey, you know what? When he gets 30, I'm going to Dick's Sporting Goods. I'm buying myself a Renfrow jersey.
You did need to wear a Renfrow jersey.
I'm wearing it all week. When he gets 30, I'm literally not taking that thing off. Every show I do from here on out will be with a Hunter Renfrow jersey on.
One thing you got to remember when you're making these picks is Hunter Renfrow's last name has an O in it, and you can already see the tweets coming out with Renfrow with a 0 in it at halftime. So that's where you're in trouble. It's hard to pick those names, Hoop. It's hard to pick those names.
Hoop. They're not going to have him at Dick's Sporting Goods either, dude.
I know. So
you're going to have to like customize the jersey.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like when I got the original Kittle, I had to spell Kittle on the back. People forget that. They didn't have Kittle, so I had to get like somebody, it was my own name. I had to spell out Kittle to get the jersey.
Here we go. Actually, here's the deal. When Renfrow gets 30, I'm going to get somebody in the Las Vegas area to go get a Renfrow. I'll send you here. Dead serious. I'll send you an overnight shipping label. Send me a Renfrow jersey. I'll send you the money and a label and extra and a ticket somewhere. It's going to happen. It's all coming together. I mean, if you guys don't see it, I just feel bad for you and your lineups today.
Should I just bet over every prop too? Like 2 touchdowns for Renfrow, over 100 yards, 9+ catches.
Parlay it all together. Put everything in there.
Single game parlay. Hunter Renfrow.
Single game parlay. Every Renfrow over that they offer. Just over.
Well, this is one of the best shows we've had this year, guys. I'm feeling it. Everybody should be happy. Everybody's laughing. We're in good moods. We got Tambo here. That we already have a couple plays of the day.
You can find the Renfrow jersey at Walmart.
I wish you could. If you could, I'd definitely go buy one.
Hold on. Hunter Renfrow jersey. Let's see what we can do for you here, buddy. $59.99. Let me see. It's one of those mock
pick
ones.
One up at Target for you. Hoop's gonna need to go.
If it was Target, I could have it in like an hour because the wife goes there like 3 times a day. So we'd be all set if they sold them at Target.
Now
we'd be all set.
Interested in a Clemson Tigers Renfrow jersey because you can get that one for $73.
I will have a jersey by Tuesday if he gets 30. I will promise you that. Like that's a lock to happen.
Simon,
on Amazon. I can get one right away.
Timestamp it. Let's go. I'm with you.
120.
I'm going with you. Hoop.
The chat's got me dying. A starter jersey.
You know what, Hoop? I'm with you. Enough of this already. Hunter Renfrow, 22 points.
You won't find it.
Is that enough, Tony? 22?
What?
Is 22 enough for Renfrow?
No, because he had it 2 games ago and Tony shit on them. So it's not enough.
Right. So you want me to go back? Okay, I'll just to polish it. Okay, since we've had the argument, he got 13, 18 with a touchdown, 18 with a touchdown, 7, 21, 19.
So he's probably like been a top 15 wide receiver over that stretch.
He's consistent,
and not a top 15 price point. So yeah, we take it. We move. Oh, I got a signed one here.
Oh baby, I'm gonna get one. I get a signed one for $170.
I just want to talk about the next thing. Like Renfrow is not getting 30. We solved the problem. We're on to the next equation.
We got to scoot it along.
All right. Enough Hunter Renfrow. If you want us to stop talking about Hunter Renfrow, hit the like button. Also,
smash it, please.
Yes. If we get to 700 in the next minute, we won't bring them up the rest of the show.
Ever. Yes.
So, yeah, ever. We are looking for 700 likes today. Tambo already gave away the 333, so that's really nice of him, paying things back. Our code is SABER15, SABER 15. We've got our new SaberSim package here. We'll get into that. We just wasted so much time on Renfrow. I don't want to do the spiel for too long, but you get our new optimizer projection system. You get Runpure Sports. You get Runpure Showdown. You get Runpure Bets, all for $127.50 a month, $190 value. RPS, let's see. No, it's SABER15 is the code there. Tambo, get us back on track here with New Orleans and the Jets. I love me some Kamara today, even though there's negative correlation with him and Taysom Hill. I was shocked to wake up this morning. I didn't see Taysom Hill as Tony's quarterback today. Little bit scared about that, but that's okay. We can get into that with him. This is going to be an ugly game. I want to start with this. Why is Jamison Crowder popping in the optimizers right now? Because to me, is that just a floor play? It doesn't seem like a ceiling play.
I mean, if he gets 2 touchdowns, maybe he can get 32.
Amazing how that works in the fantasy world. If someone scores 2 touchdowns, they're relatively likely to get to that 30.
Valuable.
Tambo, talk to me about Crowder.
Yeah, I actually don't mind him because he's a lot cheaper than Renfrow. So $4,700. It's Elijah Moore's officially out. The slot matchup.
I'll just say he's the same play as Renfrow for cheaper.
That's what I'm saying. It basically is. That's what you're getting there. So At 4,700, I'll definitely have him in there. I think there's a good little secondary stack with Kamara. I'm hoping, I know Big T is going to talk about it in a second, but I'm hoping for most case, actually, I'll use a little bit of Taysom. I talked about on the slate plan over at RPS that in something high dollar, low field, I don't mind using Taysom to sort of jam all the plays in, but on, the majority of lineups, I wouldn't have him this week. And I like Kamara quite a bit to actually do the ultimate irony, where you used to have, you'd play Kamara, and Ingram or Taysom would vulture him. Let's get Taysom's ownership up there and have Kamara vulture him back for 2 or 3 touchdowns today. And then I was just told by Hoop, and I heard it here at first, it's 2 touchdowns are valuable. So Kamara would then become very valuable on this slate. So I'm happy to go to him.
Hoop.
Yeah, I mean, I think Taysom Hill's a phenomenal play. I mean, just way too cheap. I mean, especially on DK, just way too cheap. The higher dollar stuff, like I think he's a great play. You don't need to worry about correlation. The one thing I think the biggest mistake you can do, and I don't know how many people will do it, is to play Taysom and Kamara in the same lineup today. Like, definitely, if you're using an optimizer, for me personally, create a rule that does not allow those two to play together. I mean, they're really working against each other's strong suit. I mean, and the passing upside is going to be a little bit rough, I think, for Kamara with Taysom at quarterback. You're hunting more like touchdowns. So that's kind of the reason why I'd avoid playing those two together. But individually, I think they're both great plays. One of them is a lock to have a massive game here against the Jets for sure. But yeah, that's about it. And then, yeah, Jamison Crowder, yeah, great play without Elijah Moore playing from behind. Was already getting some decent attention last week. I just want to see the targets. 6 targets last week. Probably gets like closer to 10 in a trailing game script. So I do like Crowder. Not the same play though as Hunter Renfrow. That's like hurtful. Like I know we're joking around about Renfrow and all that, but like, man, that's like that's a little bit too far.
Yeah,
Tony,
it might be.
Tony, what's going on with Taysom today? There's no jersey. There's no quarterback in your core here. It's just a bad feeling. What's going on?
I mean, you're downplaying it a little bit. Just because he's not in my core doesn't mean I don't like him. I mean, the core is just my main team. So okay. I do like him, and I agree with Hoop. We can join forces again because the one rule I always have with Taysom is to not play Kamara. And I basically agree with Tambo too. So we might all link up. If you don't play Taysom, I love Kamara because one of these dudes is going to crush. If you just really shouldn't. I mean, they could both get there. It's against the Jets. I mean, I don't like it though. I probably won't do it, but I wouldn't be stunned if somehow, if you did play both of them though, you better run it back with some of these Jets because they're gonna have to score. Because if this game plays super slow, which I honestly think it does, there's no way they can both get there, even at Taysom's cheap price, because he's not gonna throw a bunch of dump offs. Like Hoop said to Kamara, it's going to be more running. He might catch a few dump offs, but man, the Jets D is bad. So you want some exposure to this. The Jets guys, the interesting part to this game overall for me, yeah, Taysom's going to be popular. Kamara will get some ownership. Crowder will get some ownership. But you got a lot of cheap pieces in this game in huge field tournaments that I think you can play just as correlation. I mean, you can play Braxton Berrios for 3K in a Taysom team. You can play I really like JSU's boy. We got to make sure he plays. But Lil Jordan caught that touchdown. If you play Taysom and you fade Kamara, I love Little Jordan. He's questionable though, so we got to make sure he's playing. Yeah. If he doesn't, he is playing.
No, I just said Lil Jordan because it's easily the best name in football. Yeah, and every time a broadcaster talks about him, they just people usually use the last name. They're like Lil Jordan Humphrey. But no, it's an interesting call, man. It really is.
Is there a point where he switches over to big Jordan Humphrey, or is he always little?
No, Lil's the thing. Everyone sticks with that. Hey, one thing, Holden. I got 2 interesting calls here. One that didn't come up. I thought Big T was about to say it. Who smashed everyone going back to this for Minshew, what he did last week? It was Dallas Goedert that caught all those touchdowns. What if they go to Vinette here or Jawan Johnson? That's where, if you are going large field, it literally just happened against the same team last week. If you want to try and get off Kamara, I think that's an interesting way. And then I'll call this. You can't pay it off anywhere, I don't think. But I think Kamara lines up in the Wildcat and throws a touchdown to Taysom. today, and they show you just how unique this team
I like
is.
that call.
Loves that stuff,
I
man.
could easily see that happen. And what did Dunkel say on the Print Factory? He said Sean Payton and Taysom 69 each other at night. I mean, they love these trick plays.
They're gonna do something like that for sure. I got a feeling for sure it's gonna happen.
I love that call. If I could bet that right now,
you can't pay. That's what I said. It's not really a good bet because you're not going to get a.
I could see that happening for sure today. Like I love that.
I think that
call.
Could happen.
I don't even if it doesn't come out of the Wildcat, if it's like the Indy special or whatever that you want to call it, some form of Kamara throwing it to I could easily see that happen.
I did see like Taysom was plus money to score, which I thought was
really.
And on D, it might have changed, but he was like plus. I'll find it.
Well, yeah. Okay. I'll call my guy Robert over.
Yeah, plus 150. That seems like a good number. Yeah, he's plus 150 to score a touchdown on DK.
Touchdown? Yeah.
Yeah.
I would definitely
anytime touchdown.
That might be like a single game parlay. You just take the Saints money line with a touchdown for.
That's a crazy price. I mean, anytime they get inside the 5, you got a very good chance.
So Kamara's minus 175, Taysom's plus 150. Like to me, they seem like this should be the same odds in terms of scoring. That's a crazy number.
Should at least be closer than that. I mean,
I like that bet a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Buddy in the chat said Lil Hunter Renfrow.
I'm going to get the jersey. I'm going to get the LIL in front of Renfrow.
You're going to tape it on.
All right, we're done with that game. I got to pee. Hoop, can you tell them about the SaberSim?
Braxton Renfrow.
Yeah, we got the SaberSim optimizer going. We got the full it's just hard to stay on track with these great
Braxton
comments.
Renfrow might be my favorite one yet. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, so we announced a partnership with SaberSim earlier in the week. Basically, right now for a week long, the promo code SABER15 gets you 15% off a combo pack that includes RPS content and the SaberSim optimizer, a value of $170 right now. You can get it for $127.50. And it's only going to last for a week. Like I said earlier on in the show, a lot of the promos we run, we kind of just keep them going. This one for sure, though, is ending on Thursday. So you want to use it. And over time, you're going to see more and more of our content incorporated in the optimizer. You're going to see the core plays from all our guys. You're going to see cash game plays tagged right there. You'll be able to apply rules based on using the core plays. You'll be able to say, all right, Big T's got his core up. He's got 6 guys listed. In all my lineups, I want at least 3 of Big T's cores. Hopefully over time, we start to see names like Hunter Renfrow pop up in those cores. That's my goal. But as of now, if you use that rule, you'll probably have 0 Hunter Renfrow. All right, there's Holden. He's back. Take over. Saber promo has been read, and we're good to move on to the next game.
Let's get back to the games then. That'll be wonderful. Our next game that we're going to discuss here will be Atlanta, Carolina. Big T, you want to just move on to the next one?
Yeah, I'm going to scoot it along again, I think. I really couldn't see playing anyone in this game.
Hoop?
Defenses, if you want defenses. Yeah.
Tambo?
I like the Carolina defense. I guess there's got, a little conversation around Cam Newton and guys. And I saw DJ Moore come up in the chat. He would be the guy that could really ruin Renfrow's day right there for $100 more. But it's Atlanta. You still got to have some love. It seems like people don't. So large field stuff, I think it makes a lot of sense. Not that high on it myself personally.
All right, Tony, since that was a garbage game, let's go back to you with Baltimore and Cleveland. And the Cleveland defense could be popular this week, but I want to ask you about Lamar Jackson, man. Lamar has always got blow-up potential, but he's got, 13 sacks the last 3 weeks. He's turning the ball over at a massive rate. Is this the week to go to Lamar, or are we just fading him?
We said early in the year that teams had figured out the Chiefs, and it turns out they're still figured out for the most part. I think they figured out Lamar. They've been blitzing him. They just blitz him, and he can't figure it out. It's happened for 4 or 5 straight weeks. I said it last week. It came true. It's a division game, and it's windy on top of it. I mean, come on. Yeah, this game's another fade for me. No way you can't play Lamar over guys like Josh Allen and Tom Brady today. Like, I just can't do it. Sure, you can pivot. He's got rushing upside, whatever. I won't be playing Lamar or anyone in this game. I hate this game too.
Hoop.
Yeah, no thank. I mean, he's kind of turning into like Jalen Hurts, where he's just like not a good quarterback. I mean, he's never been like a good passer, but he's actually becoming like bad overall. Teams, I believe, have figured him out. It's just a terrible spot. In terms of this game overall, the only guy I'd really probably play would be Austin Hooper. Mostly off this one.
Tambo.
Yeah, I like a little bit. I like Hooper for sure, as Hoop just said, but also Jarvis Landry. I think he's interesting too. At his price tag, he's standing out, not getting as much ownership as I thought. Maybe sort of fits in that mold of the guy. You know, you won't see the ceiling, but he's still a little bit cheaper. So you're stacking up the plays there. He's another guy I think you get on this week. Again, the pricing is a little bit different this week than last, and we don't have 15 running backs to choose from. So when you are picking some of these receivers, you are going to have to pick your spots here in the middle ground and hope that these guys can get some action. The other interesting thing, being a Ravens fan and just following it, is every time we play Cleveland, it's like Baker just throws the ball a million times. And now, you know, Landry, Hooper, I'm not saying to hop on Baker and go all in. I'm just saying there's ways that you could stack this game up, because for whatever reason, when you get these division games, it's always either terrible or it goes off. Like we saw Seattle and San Francisco last week. That's typically what ends up happening with these Ravens and Browns games. So I think there could be a little bit more action in this game than the 43-point total suggests.
All right.
Jeez, just to pull this real quick, just to update on FanDuel, Taysom is plus 190 to score.
Yeah, that's
plus 190. It's like 2-1.
Man, kind of surprised.
It's a little worrisome for me. What? Is the hand worse than we think or something?
Let's
Maybe
feed
the
him.
hand.
But that would be good though for his anytime scoring prop. I mean,
Just parlay that with single game and throw the Saints money line in there. You're gonna
Doesn't
get
even make sense. It's like the price is just wrong.
Yeah, it does. I want to adjust something in the chat. There's a lot of talk about my penis, and
There's no talk of that.
there's zero chatter about
I did
your
not.
dog.
No,
Like, no
they all
one's
said
talking
that when I
about
went to the
your
bathroom. I did not wash my
Literally not a
hands.
single message about it.
It's
What
about
are
your
we
hands.
talking about?
The
I'll read
messages
them
are
off
about
to
your
you.
hands.
Holden had to go to the bathroom to handle Lil Holden. Okay.
I didn't see that one. That
That
was
is a good comment. Yeah, I wish I did see that.
Now, here's the other thing. I did not wash my hands. No. Why am I going to wash my hands? I'm in my place. I have nobody in here today. This is my computer. I disinfect it once a year. Why would I wash? Do you guys wash your hands after you piss in your own home?
I gotta be honest. I don't always like when I piss. When I take a dump with my shirt off. I do
Of
for
course.
sure, but
When you
yeah.
poop,
You go in and take a quick piss. I mean, there's no way everyone washes their hands.
Touch anything,
guys-
so I don't wash my hands. Like I don't even touch it.
Yeah,
You don't even
I
touch-
agree.
you don't even
No.
We're
touch
all on
it.
the same page.
I just drop the drawers, let it hang, and
Yeah.
pee and move on. Put it right back in the undies.
Holden's
how
got
did
Lil
you get
Holden
to Canada?
Humphrey though, so he's got to hold that thing for.
Yeah, I mean,
Hold it
who
up in
knows?
there.
I was just gonna say, like, there's no way anything's dirty down there, but Holden, who knows where
Yeah,
his
yeah.
That's where
Hey, you
Lil
settle
Holden's
down.
been.
You settle down.
So long story short, if you meet Holden, make sure you don't shake his hand.
No, if I go, well, maybe. Tambo, do you wash your hands after you pee?
No, I wash my hands after I go to the bathroom all the time. It's just a habit though. And my wife is like, her hands are burning from washing her hands so much. She's a germaphobe. So just something I'm used to. And there's always a nice little soap there that you can just take away, little nice smell and freshness when you go into the next room.
Disinfect Lil Holden. You're lucky I like to take these jokes. Some people would take offense to it. We're at 597 watt. Whoa, we're at 1,100 watching, 597 likes. The goal today is 700 likes. I think we've hit that one or two times this year. That would be nice. And if you don't wash your hands after going potty in your own house, please hit the like button. We'll see how that goes from
These
5.
comments are great.
Huh?
These comments are
The
so
comments are just
I know.
amazing.
That's why I had to address it. I had to address
Holds
this.
it
I
out
need
right
to say
into the
something
bowl.
too, because I do this
That's
more
accurate.
often than you said. So GAB says I wash my hands before I piss. I do that
Oh.
more often than not too.
What?
Sometimes you got to clean them. Maybe you're eating, like when you go to a restaurant, you're eating, you got to clean them and then pee, and then don't wash them and go back out.
You know what else? Don't do it at a restaurant either. Don't even touch the sink at a restaurant. That's 10 times worse.
Oh.
And the blow dryers, disgusting. You don't ever use a hand dryer. Always use the napkins because the hand dryer is gross. So I told my kids
if you
this.
have the choice, you always choose napkins.
I
not
use
your-
both. I go get
Both?
the things. I put the thing under and then I use it to make sure I get it all done. And then
That
throw
makes
out.
it dirtier, Tambo.
I'm not touching it. I have like those Dyson air dryers in the bathroom that you just put your hands under, but it never dries them good enough. So you grab the paper and make sure you finish the job and then throw it in the garbage. You're good.
Let me just say this. 1, 2, 3 Americans once in a while wash their hands after going bathroom. Tambo, the Canadian, all the time. All the time. And by the way, you brought home like $1 million Canadian too. So congrats to that, man. Do you, and I have a serious question for you because I was talking to Mangone about this. What do you do with the taxes? Like, because if you're a professional gambler,
he doesn't get taxed is what he does.
No, I'm not.
How does that work?
Professional content provider that dabbles in gambling.
Okay.
So I don't pay any tax.
DFS. Okay.
That's all you need to say. Do not speak any further.
Yeah.
You got room in house, Tambo, for me?
Holden's about to get the IRS knocking on Tambo's front door.
They don't have the IRS up there.
I'm building the new wing now, Big T. I'm gonna call it the Big T wing.
I'm in. Can I
Anyone
come?
wants to come down and stay, we'll add it onto the top of the house. You're good to go.
They don't have the IRS up there. I think they just, you got to go to the gulag if you don't pay your taxes. All right, listen, we just got 25 likes. So a lot of you do not wash your hands. Let's get to the
No way Holden washes his legs in the shower.
You know what? I do, but I usually don't go below the knee because I feel like if you're washing your thighs and hamstrings, the soap's just going to run down.
Oh, you're hurting me,
man.
Hold on, you have to wash your calves every time you shower? What's the matter?
Maybe not every time, but
if I go to the gym, I will. But like today, if I shower, I probably won't. Tomorrow when I shower?
It depends on time. I mean, as long as you got time, you like to clean her up a little bit.
This is where I got to bail from you guys. I'm full scrub, everything, every time I hop in the shower.
No, like only if you're having sex. Only really? You do like the backside scrub?
Everything. Every inch. I
what
get
else
all
are you
of it.
in the shower for? Like obviously I'm cleaning myself.
If I'm in there, I'm gonna put soap on everything. I mean,
I got different shower.
The back's getting hit with the shampoo and everything. Like
I got my go under this way and then I come back over the top and try to get it all.
Pollard officially out. The news just came out.
We don't care about football news, Tambo. Come on, man.
I want to know how Hoop washes his back.
Well, I mean, I get as much. I just showed you. I go this.
I know, it was impressive.
This way, across, down, and back over the top like this.
All right, so Pollard's out.
Like
it's Jay Glazer. We were expecting that. Can we just touch on that again, Tambo? Like this, we knew Zeke was going to get the carries, and now we know Zeke is going to get the carries.
Yeah, and I still don't think the ownership is going to go as much as it should, even though everyone kind of knew this news was coming. So that's, I'm with Big T on that earlier. I'm going to stick with that thought process.
This chat is just so good.
What's going on now?
What's better than the Sunday Wood chat? I mean, it's just the best.
Holding derailing the show, a tradition like no other. Hey, man, if you just want straight picks and nerdy shit, go elsewhere.
Holden thinks his skincare advice from KD might be the best one yet.
Who's that?
KD. Have you seen all those pictures where his skin's like completely?
Yeah, what's wrong with him? He was like getting on pretty young too. It's kind of it was uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. Yeah, we do need a shower narrative play of the day, Tim. Great point. Shower narrative play of the day. All right, we got 4 o'clock games. We're sitting here at 632 likes, so it's nice to see 35 other people don't wash their hands after pissing in their own house. I mean, you guys are so judgmental. It's disgusting.
I said I didn't. I was on board with you.
I know, because you tell the truth.
Yeah.
I said when I pee, I don't wash them every time because I'm not touching anything. I pull it out and pee and put it back in.
I mean, what are we washing them for? What are we touching that's dirty?
Yeah,
it's clean. I didn't do anything. Hey, Tambo, question. Does it bother you that I take shots at Canada sometimes, or should I just because I do that. I only bust people's balls that I like. So does it bother you that I make
shot? He's not paying taxes. That's not a shot.
I take a compliment. It takes a lot to offend me. Like,
okay, good.
There's short jokes. There's Canada jokes. There's
everything. Short?
I'm 5'8". I'm JSU's height, man.
That's not short.
Yeah, it's short. I think it is
pretty short. Yeah, I mean, I'll say that's short.
But I'm saying like that. Nothing offends me. You could say something about me in the chat. I'm just trying to pick winners, make money, support my family, have fun, and live a good fucking life. So that's what I do.
5'8" is not short, you sons of bitches.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it could be 6 foot.
I think 5'8's on the shorter end.
5'8's got to be considered short for a dude. I mean,
it's 5'9" is average height. So all right,
5'9's not average.
God, average height. That's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm shrinking too, man. It sucks.
Well, you're short, Holden. So, well, how tall are you?
I'm 5'9".
Yeah, you're short. So 5'9" is considered
bullshit.
short.
If someone said JSU is 5'4", you're not short.
Yeah, he says he's 5'6". That
Yeah,
dude is 5'4" max.
5'6" on stilts.
On platform shoes.
Yeah.
That's
I
JSU.
think he's taller than that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We do have another game to get to. 4 games in the afternoon. Detroit, they all had the flu. They are coming out to Denver today. It's going to be an emotional day. Demaryius Thomas passing away. They're going to have a whole ceremony for that. The Denver defense should be fired up. I can't imagine there's a better defense to play today. Tony, Javonte, how much do we want, even with Gordon coming back? And I just don't know if there's anybody else we could play. You can't play the receivers, can you?
You asked me. Javonte looked amazing on Monday night. And now he gets Detroit coming off the Super Bowl win that they celebrated for hours upon hours. And now they got all the COVID issues and guys out. And I mean, I don't see how Denver doesn't win this game by 30 plus today. Like, I give winners every once in a while on this show. Here's a free winner today. Denver by 30. They're going to pound Detroit.
Denver by 30.
And Javonte, I know people probably aren't going to play him because they're worried about Melvin. It's an afternoon game. I mean, and by saying not play him, that means 15 to 20% range, which I consider to be not playing him with how talented he is. First, Detroit, even if Melvin plays and he gets 50 or 60% of the carries, he could still get you 25 fantasy points or something against this Detroit team. So I'm all aboard the Javonte train. Nothing really. I was thinking about these Detroit running backs just because they're 4K. I'm not totally sold against them. I mean, just because they're 4K and they have to get some workload. I don't think I'm going to play them, but I'm not totally against a 4K running back ever. So I'll leave them in the player pool. But mainly it's just Javonte and the defense for me. Maybe Melvin Gordon, if he's in there, you could play a little bit of him, but Javonte and the D for me.
I just got a DM from K Falik. Hoop, he's going out to Vegas. He's going to get you that jersey.
Yeah, I just talked to him. We're all set. Okay. So he said as soon as he gets that 30 piece, he said he's going to get the jersey, and I will. Like I said, I'm going to get him that shipping label. We'll have it in
2028, maybe. We might get it. As soon as he gets that 30 piece.
I can't wait.
I love that Tambo's in with me. That feels good. I
was like hopeful. The initial comments about Renfrow were so promising from Tambo, and then like that 30 number got brought up and it was a full switch. He's like, oh shit. He's like, I got to get the fuck out of here. I'm not on this guy's side anymore. He's talking 30, not 20.
Yeah, I thought you were talking a realistic number. That's what it
was. Denver, Detroit.
I think Javonte Williams is a really good tournament play. I mean, looked phenomenal. I mean, they'd be foolish not to give this guy, more carries than Melvin Gordon. But with Melvin Gordon in there, there's obviously some risk. I mean, if Gordon's out, Javonte Williams is the most popular running back on this slate, like by far. I think you can still play him in tournaments. So he looked really good. And I mean, both these guys could have big games against this Lions team. And the Lions got their win last week. And I think they said, all right, that's enough. We'll, take our one win. We'll move on and lose the rest of the games this season and be okay with it.
Tambo, Denver, Detroit.
Yeah, I like what everybody said right here. One thing I'm wondering is, I know it's the next game or pretty close to the next game, but Barkley is 6,000. And in that afternoon slate, I don't love Barkley today, but I just, if I could just plug him in and feel okay with it, and then hopefully get the news maybe late. Who knows? I know Gordon's supposed to play and everyone expects it, but we've seen it happen before. It can go the other way too. So I'd like to have sort of a built-in safety valve if I could as an option. But I guess, like you said, I said this earlier, 50% of the carries on a game that they should, if they're winning by 30, like Big T just said, that's a lot of running back carries. And even it only takes one carry for a guy like Javonte to bust something big and pay off that salary tag. And I used the Green Bay example from a couple weeks ago when no one wanted to play A.J. Dillon once Aaron Jones was ruled in, and then A.J. Dillon still went out and racked up 21 or 22 DK points because the spot was still the same spot. And all that's really happening right now is ownership has come down because Melvin Gordon, who carries it 2 yards per carry, is going to maybe play. So that's probably a good play to stick with Javonte. Jerry Jeudy I think would be a leverage play in that spot to go the other way in the wide receiver spot.
All right, gentlemen, Saber 15, 15% off your subscription. We got the SaberSim optimizer and projection system. It is absolutely spectacular stuff. I'm finally learning how to use it. It's kind of nice. It's all sports you get. You get our sports site, our Showdown site, our bet site, and SaberSim. It's usually $190. We get it to you for $127.50. So pretty excited about that stuff right there. Sign up. It'll be great. Tambo, we probably only got about 20 minutes left in the show. We're only at 642 likes. We need 58 more. Can you coerce some people into doing this?
Yeah, best show of the year. 1,200 we're watching. I just already added to 400 out of the gate. We're giving away 2 tickets. I'm working on that now in the back end rate as we speak that we already gave away on the earlier show. Nothing but good mojo. The code's there. Everything else is there. But all the fun we've been having. This is what it's like all the time in the Discord. We're all coordinators and doing shows and putting out content, but we're watching all the other shows with the people as well. So get us to 700 likes. It won't take that much longer. We're going to give you all the rest of the information and throw questions in the chat if you got them. We'll try and get to those as well as we move it along.
Okay. I like it. Very good. So we'll save the last 2 games, the best 2 games. But Tambo, I want to get your thoughts on this Giants-Chargers game. There's going to be some ownership on Mike Williams, obviously. I bet you Guyton's a little bit popular too. Eckler, to me, he could be the second guy behind Kamara at this, or maybe the number 1 guy ahead of Kamara at this point. Gibson's got to be in the mix. And on the Giants side, is there anyone we can really dig up? You talked about Saquon Barkley. I think it's Sterling Shepard's back. This is kind of a decent matchup for him. Nobody is going to be on him whatsoever. Give me a little Giants-Chargers breakdown.
Yeah, there's not much to give. I'm not as high on it as I originally thought I would be with these cheaper prices. Mike Williams obviously makes some sense at 6,000, but he's one of the most popular. I never really like that. What I do worry about is from the previous show, AP brought it up. I think it could be true with no Keenan Allen there for them to put attention to. Again, he's kind of like the Hunter Renfrow play. I think he has a good potential to get 20. I actually think he's a little more limited or capped today than what we've previously seen. I like Mike Williams quite a bit last week, had a good game, but that was with Keenan Allen there. Here, I think if they draw attention to him, you could actually see them go a step further, and it might not even be going back to Guyton, who finally got there for some people last week. It might be Josh Palmer. I think he could be an interesting play there at 3,000, the very stone minimum. Obviously talking large field tournaments with that, but just another guy that I think that not many will play that's worth the risk in large field.
Chargers, Giants.
Yeah, just 2 plays for me. It's Austin Eckler and Mike Williams. I guess you could throw these other cheap Chargers wide receivers in the mix if you're going to do the full 150. Guyton, Palmer, I think are guys to mix in. But if only building a few lineups, I don't think you need to go there. The Saquon thing, not for me. I mean, just has not looked great this season. It's not a good spot. They're 10-point underdogs here. Chargers at home. I think their defense shows up. So for me, Eckler, Mike Williams, and Justin Herbert a little bit too. I think, again, if you're full 150ing, like Justin Herbert is a guy that you should get exposure to most weeks, but really like Eckler and really like Big Mike here.
Just pass it on to Big T for Big Mike. Come on, give me some Big Mike Williams love.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with this game is, can the Giants keep the pace at all? I mean, their offense has to be, if not the worst in football, one of the worst, especially when you consider that they have pretty good players. I mean, some of their players are better than other teams. So
that's a good point.
It's just embarrassing how bad. Like, when's the last time they've scored like 30 in a game? I mean, has it happened in like 2 or 3 years? It feels like they just never score. So I agree with that. I really don't want to play Saquon. The price looks good. He could be like a pivot where if you need to make up some points in the afternoon, maybe you pivot off Javonte onto him or something.
That's a really good point, actually.
As long as you're in good shape, though, I don't really see playing him. But these Chargers guys, good plays. Eckler, Mike Williams. I like the Palmer call from Tambo, though. I just highlighted him and wrote him on my sheet because even during this year, he's got some looks on these little dump offs where I think he could pick up Keenan's role more than we realize. Maybe all the focus goes on Big Mike and Palmer at 3K. I like that call a lot. I'm going to bump him significantly up my board. I
think he's fine as a one-off too, because you mentioned a Big T. If they can't keep up, then why wouldn't they just continue to feature this guy? Give him more looks. If they're already going to win or smash, just why not keep rolling it with him? It doesn't mean Herbert goes off. It means the guy at 3K goes off and gets 15 to 20, and that's a solid number. That's like almost Hunter Renfrow numbers at 3,000 even.
They like him too. I mean, they liked him in the preseason. He's gotten work even when they're at full strength with everyone in there. He's gotten a little bit of work. So I like that call a ton at 3K.
Okay. Like button. So we are 31 away from 700. That's
they haven't scored 30 since 2018.
Is that legit?
Keep me away from that offense if that's
Is that real? Is that a real number?
It sounds real. It feels like they never scored.
It does feel like, and they got, it's just, I think you said it best. I mean, they got guys. I mean, they have Saquon. Evan Ingram looked promising. Some of these wide receivers look promising.
Galladay. I mean, they got good dudes.
Just organization's a disaster.
Someone said it's Mike Glennon's birthday narrative. Yeah, he might get 10 sacks for his birthday.
Yeah. I bet his under passing yards, like the second they said he was starting.
He's so bad. He's been so bad at forever. He's made so much money being bad.
A lot of people have done that. It's pretty incredible.
Join the club. Yeah. So here's the deal. Like button. Let's do that. And we'll get to hoop we got 2 games left. These are the important games. We're also 16 minutes away from inactives. We will be addressing those like we do every single week on the Up to Lock show, the final countdown, best in the business, Up to Lock, JSU. He's giving you all the information you need. It's just a really fun show too. JJ from the bet side will drop by. He'll give us his best bets as well, but you got to be a member. Saber 15. You're just getting so much with that. All right, Hoop, let's go. The next one would be San Francisco, Cincinnati. Joe Mixon feeling a little ill. He's going to play today, though. Higgins, a little banged up. He's going to play. Burrow, a little banged up. He's going to play. And Deebo Samuel, a little banged up. He's going to play, too. No Elijah Mitchell. Jeff Wilson's going to share the backfield with Hasty, although, Shanahan likes to run with one running back more than anything else. So there's a lot going on in this game. I wonder if there's anything to roster, Hoop.
Jeff Wilson on FanDuel is 4.9K. I think you just play him there, just way too cheap. On DK, it's a little more of a decision at 4.4. If you're spending up at tight end, Kelsey and Kittle are kind of in a tier of their own. I think more people play Kelsey, which will leave Kittle a little lower owned. And then on the Bengals side, I think their offense is interesting because it's going to be virtually unowned. I really like Jamar Chase in tournaments, only 6.9K. T. Higgins, I think you can look to. Bengals, to me, are one of the more sneaky teams. I mean, the key is to avoid getting behind. Like, if you get behind with the 49ers, you know what's going to happen. They're just going to pound the ball, bleed the clock, and if you can't stop it, it's game over. So, if the Bengals can put up some points early and we kind of get the back and forth that we saw last week with the 49ers, that's what you're looking for. There's big upside, but also big downside in this one.
T.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sneaky game for sure. And these afternoon games are good. The afternoons have busted all year. I'm calling it. I'm not that it's a shocking take, but these afternoon games aren't going to bust today. There's going to be a ton of points today in these afternoons. And this is the sneaky one. I don't think that many people are going to go to this game. And you got a lot of upside in this game. All the Bengals guys have upside. Obviously, the passing game with some San Francisco secondary out. We got Mixon, obviously has upside. He's shown upside all year. And then the San Fran side, I mean, you got cheap guys that can crush. Deebo, I'm not sure what the news is, but I think he's going to play.
Yeah.
He's going to be completely unowned too. People aren't going to want to go there. I think there's just so many ways you can stack this game up that makes it very compelling. And I need to get some. I need to get more of this game, I think. From last night to now, I think this is the biggest riser for me, just with everything that's happened in this slate. I think it's going to get ignored, and that's probably wrong. I wouldn't be shocked at all if this game just totally shoots out. Neither defense is very good. Guys are out on defense, and we got skill guys all over the field that can make plays. So that, to me, is a great game to target.
Tambo, you want to touch this game?
Just a few of the plays. They said most of it. I think who brought up the good point. I like Jeff Wilson more on FanDuel, 4,900. You can play some of these afternoon stacks and just get all the guys that you want at the highest prices and go about it that way. So I think he makes a lot more sense over there. The Deebo call at 8,000. I mentioned this earlier. He's just what do they do when me and you have talked about this, Holden, before on the Friday News Dump show, when Elijah Mitchell is not in and Debo is, it's basically he's everything to them. And I know he hasn't practiced much and all that, and his price tag a little bit higher than you'd like to see at 8,000. But when he's doing everything like that, he can become valuable. And then, of course, going back to Burrow, Jamar Chase, the guys on the other side, I definitely think there's a good spot there. San Francisco is down some cornerbacks and some guys in the back, in the backside there, that you can go with the guys like Jamar Chase to make up for last week when he dropped that 70-yard touchdown that was basically a walk-in and went back to preseason, his drops. So I'll go back to Jamar Chase as well in this game.
Okay. Then we got the big one coming up. Before we do that, hit that like button. Let's get to 700 before it's all said and done. We got the inactives coming out in a few minutes. We need 17 more likes, Tambo. 17, and then we're going to do it. So
we're going to get it.
Yeah, we're going to get it. I'm not worried about that whatsoever. And Tambo just threw it in the chat. And Tambo, I'm coming right back to you, man. I know there's going to be some ownership on this Tampa Bay Buffalo game. There should be. Break it down for us.
Yeah, my rule in this game is just overstack. If you're in, get in, like all the way in. And someone asked me today, give away a teaser, but if you're not at RPS, use the code. We talked about Saber15, but the core over there tells us, someone said, did you make a mistake when you put 3 guys in with your stack in that game? No, I'm playing a bunch of guys in that game if I'm playing it, because it either goes off or it doesn't. So that's how I like to build my lineups. If it doesn't, it was already dead anyway, trying to find this, that, and the other within it. I think there's a lot of sneaky pieces within it, and sneaky in the sense that they're all going to have a little bit of ownership. But if you just go with like Godwin and Fournette and then run it back the other side with Beasley, I don't think you're being very sneaky. But you could get Knox. You can get Gabriel Davis. I read a tweet earlier this week, actually. I forgot about this on the earlier show. I'm very high on Manny Sanders, who I'll get to in a second. But Gabriel Davis has like 30 or 40 of his family members coming out to this one for some reason. I'm not sure why, but maybe they get him that one chance. It's one shot, one opportunity, 8 Mile style. But, get out there, get your shot, try and take it into the end zone, buddy. Gabriel Davis is cheap. And then again, like Beasley makes sense to get in there to rack up these catches. The tweet was posted out about the zone defense and how much they use him in zone. That will rack you up 15 to 20 possibly. But I think the Manny Sanders, obviously, like I said, the unfortunate news of Demaryius Thomas this week, you talked about it a little bit earlier, not to bring it up again, but just Manny Sanders had to leave practice, man. He's tough. Former teammate, obviously tough news for everyone. DT was the man. But I think you could see Sanders get into the end zone and get a little DT tribute touchdown today. So I like this game anyway. I know everyone else does too, but you can play 50% of this game if you love it and still be different with the other 50% of your lineups and be able to get there on the slate if it somehow does not come through.
Okay. Let's hear it from you, Hoop. Can I ask you about Cole Beasley real quick? Why is Cole Beasley going to be so popular?
Yeah, no, I agree with Big T on this one. I'm gonna join forces with him and say no thanks on Cole Beasley. Hasn't looked great. I just prefer all the other guys. I would buy into the Manuel Sanders narrative with DT and the tragic passing there. They were obviously super close in Denver for a while. Gabe Davis, obviously last week's game and the win was a little fluky, but he was getting those targets in the red zone. So I like all the wide receivers over Cole Beasley today. Love the Bills passing game overall here. I mean, they don't have the team to be able to run the football. You can't really run it against the Bucs. You have to imagine this is a Josh Allen game where they give him the football, let him do his thing. If they get a lead, the Bucs will just pass it, and could just be a great game for fantasy purposes. So many good plays here. Josh Allen, I think Diggs, Knox is probably going to be unowned. A lot of people are going all the way up at tight end, coming all the way down. I think Knox is a fine option this week. And then on the Bucs side, Leonard Fournette is just too cheap. His role it might be the best role in football. Honestly, it has the chance to be the best role in football. He's getting all the goal line work. Now he's getting targets. 9, 6, 8, 7 catches, 6, 8 in his last 4 games. That's insane usage. And he's still right around 7.5K on both sites, way too cheap. Love Fournette this week. Godwin's too cheap on DK, 7.1K, a perfect guy for DK scoring. Mike Evans is a good pivot.
Gronk has looked really good. I mean, just so many plays in this game. So you really don't have to worry about ownership because you can do so many different things to like get different. If you really like Josh Allen, but you don't want to pair him with Diggs because we know that combo is going to be popular, go to guys like Knox, go to Manny Sanders, go to Gabe Davis. And then on the other side, Chris Godwin will probably be pretty high owned. Go to Mike Evans. If you're playing a chalky team, just make that pivot. So many different ways to go in this game. It's like a perfect game for DFS.
All right, Big T, let's do it. Run this one down. Cole Beasley.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with these guys. So all year, I swear these big games like this have busted. Today's going to be the day it finally goes nuts. I've been waiting for Tampa to face a good passing game all year. Finally, we get it today with this Buffalo team that has no running game. Perfect storm. And Tampa's always gonna move the ball and score. So I just see no way it busts. I'm going way overweight. I agree with Tambo too. They're the type of teams that you don't have to be afraid to overstack too. Like no one will play Lenny, Godwin, and Evans together or something like that. It doesn't have to be those three, but no one will do that. And when this game ends up 43-38 or something crazy like that, you're going to be happy you overstacked it because, man, I mean, every play in the game is good. I can even make a case for going down to guys like Perriman and Cam Braid at 2,700. It's just such a good game just to get exposure to all these pieces and just fully jam it in there, just every direction and just root for a shootout. I don't see anyone who Beasley, I don't like him, but I'm not going to completely fade him either just because he's in this game. And I learned my lesson a few of those weeks with those Colts games where I got the shootout right, but then I made one fade and it ended up being the guy that freaking crushed and it didn't do me any good. So I love this game. I don't really see myself even like Breda. I like him just because last week he got pushed to the side a little in that weather, but in a passing type script, I mean, he's going to be under 1% owned in this game. I could see him catching a bunch of dump offs in this spot. So I think it goes like, look at his numbers. I think it's completely hidden. I mean, versus the Jets, who's the worst defense, he got 19. You think of Tampa as a good D, but they're the worst against running backs out of the backfield, not running, catching those dump offs and stuff. So I think Breida at under 1% is like insanely sneaky in this game in a shootout that we want to jam. Knox is my favorite tight end of the day. And like Hoop said, there's no ways. I mean, at the very absolute most, he's like 10%. I don't even think he gets to that. So you're getting a low-owned pieces in this game. I mean, I'm just jamming it all the way around. I don't see anyone I don't like, and I want as much of it as I can get.
Tom Brady against the Bills, 32-3, 70 touchdowns and 25 interceptions. He just absolutely mauls them.
Going for a touchdown record. Gronk absolutely destroys Buffalo no matter what team he's ever been on with Brady, of course. So I don't know. I just think it's a good spot. And to Big T's point, one last thing I want to add, Cole Beasley is like a one-off, I think is pretty horrible. But if you're using
I definitely would not play him as a one-off. I will concur with that point.
I'm the money for Renfrow.
I would play Renfrow before Cole Beasley.
Yay! All right. That's a good way to end the show.
We got to it.
Hey, I'm telling you, here we go. I'm putting a bet in for you, Hoop. Hunter Renfrow over 6.5 catches.
Okay.
Parlayed with Taysom anytime touchdown.
Yep.
Well, I'm not gonna get too fancy with that, but I'm going Renfrow over 6.5. How about that?
All right.
Love it.
We don't want to take two shots there with that Taysom thing.
Now I got an inside source. I got a guy in Vegas that's going to give me this jersey. Things are looking up.
Well, that's K-Phallic, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, K-Phallic, yeah.
Great. So we're
this
done.
Game is going to go nuts. I know it's popular, but like you guys said, I mean, the more I look at it, I can even see a team where you play two cheap pieces like Gabe Davis and Perriman or something. Like, I wouldn't be shocked at all if the winning Millie Maker team today has a weird build like that, like Josh Allen, Gabe Davis, Perriman, Diggs, Gronk, like just a weird construction, but full of this game.
Yeah. And I mean, there's like 8 or 9 plays from. I mean, you can play the quarterbacks, you can play Lenny, you can play 3 wide receivers on each side, you can play both tight ends. So just a lot of different ways to go with this game.
Really, the only guys I think that are just easy fades are Singletary, Moss, Jones, and Gio. I mean, maybe not even Gio. Lenny gets all the work though, is why.
Yeah.
So basically, all the running backs except Breida are the only fades for me in the game.
Except for Breida. Okay. Inactives coming out in 3 minutes. Don't forget, me and JJ from the bets are going to stop by.
Bobby Gomes likes this Perriman play. I think Perriman is like an insanely good
deep
play
looks.
today.
He's getting deep looks. And they just missed him. I don't know if it was last week.
I think it was 2 weeks ago, but
just missed. And Brady was kind of pissed. But he's getting deep looks.
All right. So again, up to lock show, final countdown. We'll react to all the inactives. We'll get you the plays right up to lock. You got to be a premium subscriber for that. So Saber, SEBER 15, Saber 15. If you haven't already started, let's go to our plays. The days. Tambo, Mr. Guest today. Let's go. Play of the day, my friend. I think you gave it out before, but give it out again.
Yeah, maybe they weren't here before, right? I said I'll give 2 because the bonus play. I was going to do Josh Palmer. I really like him. Like I said, at 3,000 even. I think it's a good spot. It's definitely different than the chalk at the very top and Mike Williams at half the price. Probably doesn't do the same numbers, but he doesn't have to at 3,000. But the other guy said I for sure love the Manny Sanders tribute touchdown today. Almost positive that's going down. So I'm in on that one as my main play of the day.
Okay. Hoop, what is the rich parent?
You're done. Did you forget?
Huh? Oh, you already gave it
done.
for Renfrow, but you can go back.
Hunter Renfrow.
Run it right.
Don't bring it back up again.
Route 2.
Yeah, it was
2
just
for
like
each
the best
touchdown.
It was the best buildup of all time. I mean, for any of the plays of all time. So, I mean, I just don't want to like water it down and restate it. But if you weren't there for the middle of the show, it's Hunter Renfrow, 30 piece, and then Hoop will be wearing his jersey for the rest of the week.
All right, Big T, what do you got?
Let's see. Who do I want to give for my play? I mean, we just talked about everyone in that. I don't really want to give someone in that game, though. I mean, that game is so good. Let me find someone else. Who can I give it? Yeah, I don't know how I'll own this guy's going to be. It probably depends on some news in the afternoon, but he's my favorite play of the day, so I'll give it. He might be a little higher owned. I don't care. Whatever. Javonte Williams, though, coming back 5,900 against Detroit. Like I said, it's my bet of the day. I think Denver wins by 30. You can bet the alt lines. Seriously, I think they win by 30. The spread's like 10 or 11. Get some alt lines. Bet it in the 20s. And I think Javonte, whether it's 50% of the carries, 60% of the – I hope Melvin plays, honestly, so that the ownership doesn't go insane. Because if Melvin sits, I mean, everyone's going to play Javonte. So I actually hope Melvin no bad reports come out about Melvin. So
yeah, he's
Javonte,
going to
I mean, I just hope there's no bad reports, though, like Javonte's going to get 70% of the carries or anything like that.
One other thing to add.
And the Broncos by 30.
One other thing, Tony, that I wanted to touch base with you on, your Wong teasers look pretty appealing this week. There's like seven or 8 of them that fall into the category of being like solid, where they get you those right numbers. I was looking at like
the last 2 weeks they went 5-0 and 5-0 too.
Some of them are gone though. Some are gone.
Some of them have moved, but they're still like the
Hopefully
Ravens.
People got them in on the Thursday show. I said to get them in early in the week.
Yeah, you did.
Locked them in, and there's still some out there, though. I'm going to put some more up here in a minute, but Hoop's right. I mean, get those because they look good today, too. The ones
they look very good. There's the Ravens, there's the Titans, the Seahawks, the football team, Bills.
Real quick. David
Bengals.
Johnson's on the COVID list. Does that matter, guys? He's out today. Do we want to mess? Sorry, Hoop, but I just
that was a terrible way.
Oh no!
Yeah, I mean,
that was a
Lil Jordan's inactive.
I just got cut off for David.
Hold on,
Johnson
Lil Jordan's inactive. How about that?
Yeah,
Huh?
you just ruined all the mojo, Holden.
How did I ruin the mojo?
Because he was giving all the winners.
News.
We had all the winners coming out, and then you talked about David Johnson and Lil Jordan.
We talked about Lil Jordan Humphrey
Well,
for
I
a
like
long
it, but
time.
you can't ruin the winners segment here.
You know what? I'm not
Tough
backing
way
down
to
on
end a
this
great
one.
show.
I'm not backing
You're
down.
talking about David Johnson. How do you not back down?
Waller's out too.
Holden just hates when Hoop's talking. Like he hates my
not the
stories.
case.
He hates when like you don't like the carpet story. You don't like. I mean,
Hoop was giving winners too. Hoop was giving actual winners with great takes. And you broke in with David freaking Johnson.
Yeah,
I can't win today. All right, go.
Oh, it's over. It's done.
When do we figure out who your play of the day is that you were telling?
Yeah, that's yeah. You can redeem yourself with the Holden play. Who do we got?
Hunter Renfrow.
Is it?
No, absolutely not. I'll give away my best play of the day is coming up on the premium show. All right. So I mean, I love it. Antonio Gibson and Gerald Everett. Just throw those two guys out there for you. So those are my two guys. Tony, I'm going to remind you right now because I want you to be awake. 10 o'clock tomorrow. You're going to be my guest on the Denver City Cast. Okay. You're going to be the guest. Be awake. Be ready to go. Okay, pal?
Me?
Yeah, you.
When?
Tomorrow at 10.
Me? When?
In the morning.
10 a.m. tomorrow?
That's right.
I got that show with Chop at 10.
Okay.
I forgot.
11?
11?
11 o'clock it is.
Okay.
I'm going to text you after this. 11 a.m. Eastern time. Hold it in Big T for about 20, 30 minutes. We're going to talk some stuff. Hoop, wonderful to see you. Sorry to cut you off for that, but that little Jordan Humphrey news was big for me.
No, you broke in with David Johnson.
Yeah, the breaking news was David Johnson.
All right. I wasn't going to back down.
What team's David Johnson on?
All right. I'll back down.
Just kidding.
Fucking shame. Kevin Coleman is inactive.
Oh, Simon, get us freaking out
Sign
of
us
here.
off.